Beep. Hey everybody, welcome to Nerdlykingdom, where we talk about nerd stuff, and we got the Star Wars here. We watched the Star Wars movie.
Alright, that's the actual intro. That's what we're going with.
We're not using that.
No, we're too late. It's already going. I've started this. Thank you everyone for watching this podcast, because that's how podcast works. Thanks for listening to this podcast.
Even though you're just now listening to it.
I just got off work. But before we get started, I just want to thank everyone that actually listened to this. I can't believe we actually have people listening to us.
And we're sorry.
Yeah, we're very sorry. But that being said, if you like what you hear, like if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. If you're listening to iTunes, review, rate. I don't know how it works. If you're on Google Play, do stuff there that's good. Do those things.
Because we need your validation or we feel like we're nobodies.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much that actually helps us. It
Our
helps
careers are in your hands.
Yeah, it's basically, it's like, we're on our knees. But before, okay, it was just like, yes, thank you, welcome, start the podcast, woo! For William! What'd you think of that intro, William?
It's great.
That's some like 10 minutes worth of work if I'm over exaggerating right there. And until someone comes up with something better, that's what's going in front of
Who
every
was
episode.
You
that
hear that,
screaming?
listeners?
That was me screaming, and then
Any
Dakota.
of you guys are like even slightly talented with audio, you guys can fix that.
You know, that's obviously a reference to what we talked about before, him and the LARPing thing. But we actually took like multiple takes of the screaming until we were finally happy with those. We ended up
I'm
going
honored.
we ended up going with the first ones we did because all the ones after that were crap. Josh nearly broke the mic. He screamed so loud.
Wow.
He just goes.
I'm honored, and it brings back nice memories.
But no, what that's basically doing is just locking you in because you are so associated with this podcast. You have to do it from now
man.
on.
That was
That's
our
the sad thing,
guys.
too,
We
is,
have you stuck now.
I was packing up the last of my stuff out of my closet the night before last, and I found my LARPing sword and shield in the closet, and I was like, oh man. I spent a lot of time working on those.
To the stuff before we get started. Anyone have any newsy stuff? I haven't had.
I have one thing to bring up. I haven't researched it enough though, but since the Disney-Fox merger has been announced, the Senate is actually investigating it to make sure that it's valid.
Why? What?
Because they don't want, government doesn't want any big monopolies.
I don't think it'd be a monopoly of anything.
No, I don't think it is, but I mean they're just researching just to be sure that it's a valid thing, to make sure that
I doubt anything they would have a monopoly over is probably not something that Disney cares about anyways.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, I told you about this, I think. Since Disney was owned equally by Hulu was owned equally by Disney, Fox, and I think Comcast.
Mm-hmm.
Since Disney's buying Fox, that means they'll own Hulu. Is that what the Disney streaming service is going to be? They're just going to turn Hulu into that,
I'm not sure.
or are they going to own two and we're going to get double screwed?
I would assume so, because it's either just destroy Hulu entirely and rebuild, or rebrand Hulu, because majority of Hulu is nothing but Disney and Fox related material.
This is true.
Content.
It's true, actually. Yeah, I mean, like the last thing they put out was out on Hulu. The Runaways is on Hulu instead of Netflix.
Which would actually benefit me, since I already have Hulu, so now I don't have to sign up for a third streaming service.
I know,
I
right?
already have 3 streaming services.
I have Netflix and Hulu.
Here's the thing, though. If I'm right, if the third one was Comcast, I'm pretty sure it was. That's a fucking bullet we dodged right there, because we don't want Comcast owning shit.
And the thing is, Comcast was the other company looking into buying out Fox after Fox went to...
Boy, I bet them would have been some good superhero movies.
And this is why I'm okay with Disney owning 20th Century Fox, because the runner-up was Comcast.
Like, can you
Who would
imagine
you have
that?
wanted more, Disney or Comcast?
Like, Comcast owns the X-Men. Like, he's like, oh no, we need to call the professor, and they're just on the line with customer service for 4 hours. That's the whole movie. That's it. Movie over.
No, we did dodge a bullet.
Oh, but speaking of Comcast and the like, the internet died recently.
Hmm.
Should probably talk about that.
Which we still got a few more steps to take before.
Before it's official, but
And
Because the government has been making such good decisions.
so I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, to be fair, the last time this issue was brought up,
I'm running out of eggnog already.
the government blocked. Of course, this was...
because you actually drink eggnog.
Of course, again, this was
Non-dairy
Obama
eggnog.
era government blocking the repeal of net
I
neutrality.
think.
However,
go ahead.
Because it's the FCC, there's a law that enables the government to completely disregard that whole thing. Should let like a 40% vote for against, I believe. I can't remember exactly the specifics, but it very well could get stopped by Congress, and if not by Congress, it will have to go to court, and they'd have to give a legitimate reason for why they would repeal net neutrality. And so if the Congress doesn't block it, courts definitely absolutely can block it.
You guys will have to get me on the name because I don't know the guy's name because I don't care
Ajit
enough.
Pai.
That's him. So he's been posting a bunch of stupid videos with like irrelevant memes in it, and he did the Harlem Shake.
Oh
The
my
guy
gosh.
who did that song is now suing him over
Did you
doing
see-
that, which I feel is the sweetest level of irony of
Did you see
everything.
H3's latest video?
I did!
Yes. I've been on the subreddit all day looking at edits of what Ethan did was he took that video and restructured it down to the green screen. So it's just Ajit Pai in the green screen. And he posted the source out and urged all the people on the H3 subreddit to mess around with it. So all day people have been reposting different stuff
Bless.
So there's images of him with the Nerf gun and fidget spinner standing next to ISIS extremists, and the
Jesus.
shot of him eating the popcorn and watching Game of Thrones. Now it's like him looking at porn or looking at variety different things. It's fantastic.
Did you see, I think it was Philip DeFranco, the thing he talked about Ajit Pai posting that? It's like, it's literally I think it was Philip DeFranco. Oh, you know what? It may have been Jack's Films. I only watched a few YouTubers. I think it was Jack's. And, like, it's like literally the best physical embodiment of, like, what was that? What's that movie? It's like he's got the skateboards. Like, what's up, my young dudes, or whatever.
I know what
he
you're
says.
talking. I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're
don't
talking
it
about.
is. Yeah, Steve Buscemi's got
Yeah.
the skateboard.
It's like literally.
What's up, fellow kids?
Oh my gosh.
That's literally him. Like, he's so out of touch with internet community and treats us like we're idiots. We're not idiots. We're smart people.
Is we smart people?
Is we smart
Is
people?
we really?
We know what's going on at Ajit Pai.
And on top of all that, kind of tying into what we would be talking about today, Mark Hamill actually tweeted back to him and said, "Cute video, Ajit. Aren't I precious pie?" And then vomit emoji. "But you are profoundly unworthy to wield a lightsaber. A Jedi acts selflessly for the common man, not lie to enrich giant corporations. By the way, did you pay John Williams his royalty?" And then tagged him in it, and then hashtag a Jedi you are not.
Man, Mark Hamill is a hero.
He is.
Does that mean Ajit Pai's a Sith? He's Snoke. We finally figured it out. Finally got
There
my
it
answer.
is. Ajit Pai is Snoke. Confirmed.
Oh, that explains so much.
It actually goes a bit further because he also received a tweet back from Ted Cruz that said,
Who,
Luke,
Ajit Pai or Mark
Hamill.
Oh, wow.
that said, "Luke, I know Hollywood can be confusing, but it was Vader who supported government power over everything said and done on the internet." Unfortunately, he misspelled Hamill's Twitter handle, but Hamill saw it anyway, of course. And Hamill responds saying, "Thanks for smarm-spaining it to me at Ted Cruz. I know politics can be confusing, but you'd have more credibility if you spelled my name correctly. I mean, it's right there in front of you. Maybe you're just distracted from watching porn at the office again." Heart emoji.
Oh my God.
And then link to that status.
I want to point out, though.
Hamill's a hero.
Want to point out, Vader actually dismantled the government to rise to power. So everything Ted Cruz said was also wrong and whatever. I mean,
Hashtag fake nerd.
Mark Hamill continues to this day to be my childhood hero. Every day. I love you, Mark.
He really is like the Joker in real life. Like,
he's a blessing.
Anyways, none of this is related to anything. I suppose we got anything else before we just tangent off for another hour and a half?
Nah.
You sent out a message to us in Discord saying for us to find any news
things
to kind of start, and I proceeded to not.
Woo!
I wrote my notes, and I was watching Fox is doing a Christmas Story live, and it's a musical.
I just had that
Kinda
Senate
cute.
thing. Me and Dakota's been playing Mario Kart all afternoon. I hope he replies to that.
Oh,
That would make my
What'd you do?
entire
I'm
life.
live tweeting. Leave me alone.
Oh boy.
We professed our love to Mark Hamill. It's okay.
That's-
If
That's
Mark
fair.
Hamill replies to that, I'll cry.
You might actually witness hearing William poop his pants.
That would really.
I'm gonna have a
Really-
Jake Whitehall texting.
I can't remember his name.
Oh,
In Big Fat Quiz of the Year.
it was.
Yeah.
Who did he message in
I
that?
can't remember.
I can't remember the dude with the hat and the white t-shirt.
Oh, that
Oh
was
my god, that's
great.
hilarious.
Chico.
That was it.
Jack Whitehall texting Chico moment on
Yes.
Nerdly Kingdom. Except I'm Jack Whitehall and Mark Hamill is Chico.
I
You are
think my
kinda
favorite
Jack
thing
Whitehall.
was Russell Brand tweeting a random member of the audience to get
Get
answers.
answers.
That was a great episode.
I love this. Like, you were up there 5 minutes and you got some numbers. Like, I was putting my sporas out. Anyways,
Oh, that should be coming out pretty soon too. By the way.
I guess that's it. Let's talk about Star Wars. First, let's go. How long can you go before you get sued?
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyways, I guess we'll go non-spoilers first.
Man, I was just gonna go straight in and
No,
just let us go straight
do it.
through the movie.
It still hasn't been that long yet, so
I know, but
We'll share our thoughts
No,
and then we'll talk.
I'm gonna go non-spoilers, and then we might talk about some other stuff, and then we'll go into spoilers. That way, if someone wants to just stop before we get to the spoilers and the episode be over for them, we can do that.
That'll work.
I guess,
That's
fair
fine.
enough,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
okay.
I'll be honest, I don't remember anything
Absolutely.
about that movie because I have a terrible memory.
I've been letting it
Um,
marinate.
I
For
let
lack
it
of better
marinate
word.
by watching Adam Driver's interview on Colbert, which was magical. If you haven't watched it, please
I
go
let
on
it
YouTube.
marinate by going and
Then-
watching the Disaster
I
Artist
almost-
the day
Then
after.
I watched Adam Driver's hosting of SNL, and nothing beats being able to quote word for word the entire Radar Technician sketch.
I almost went and watched it again yesterday.
I almost would have seen it again yesterday too. No, today I
No,
almost would have go see
I
it
actually
again, but I
almost went
didn't.
and saw
I
it
didn't
yesterday.
feel like it.
And
See,
then-
I guess that's a good thing. We all wanted to go back and see it
Or
again.
no, not
but
yesterday. I was gonna watch it today.
instead
I
I
do
bought-
want to see it again very badly.
Instead, I bought eggnog and Captain Morgan and
I went
Hey.
Christmas shopping
Played,
after work.
played
so
Path of Exile and tried to watch The Room until I got too drunk.
I
I
tried to
couldn't
get
sit
some
up.
productive stuff done today.
Oh, I didn't.
I slept
I got a
all
haircut
day.
and then went Christmas shopping.
You did get a
Yeah,
haircut.
I did get a haircut. Yeah.
Great Star Wars stuff.
It's a Star Wars.
My thing about Star Wars is I feel like this episode 8, answered nothing and lied about everything it did answer. That's how I feel about this movie. That's the one thing. It was a great movie. Go watch it. You'll be just as confused going out as
Yeah,
you
that's the
did.
thing. Ryan Johnson brought up in an interview, I believe I read this somewhere, was that the thing about this trilogy is that J.J. Abrams set up the trilogy to be a trilogy to have questions being answered throughout. Ryan Johnson completely threw that out the window, and then said in an interview that despite the fact he disregarded a lot of things, he still left it things open to be changed should they need to be changed for JJ to change down the line. So it's basically two different filmmakers doing their own thing and saying, hey, you can handle this later, can't you?
Because that works so well on Justice
Of
League.
course, it was supposed to be Colin Trevorrow,
I don't know who that is.
and he got fired.
Oh.
Wow.
He
Nice.
did Jurassic World, and he was lined
Oh.
up to write and direct episode 9. And allegedly, they're just...
I read apparently
script didn't-
Mark Hamill read the script and looked at Ryan Johnson and said, I disagree with everything you've done in this.
Wait a minute. It's amazing. everything you've written down here is wrong.
That's it.
Yeah. He disagreed. Mark Hamill disagreed with everything relating to Luke, and I can see why.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, he then again said he'll do what he can to fulfill the vision. So
it's funny. Luke in 4, 5, and 6 was Luke. Luke Skywalker was Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker. In this episode, it is Mark Hamill playing Luke Skywalker playing Mark Hamill. Let's be honest. And I like, he is mostly Luke, but like the very first thing he does is the most Mark Hamill thing I've ever seen. I won't say what it is, but it's the best introduction to that character ever. And I can't stop laughing just thinking about it. It's such a serious moment, and it just derailed so fast.
And it's such a weird thing. Like, the whole movie is just, like, subverting expectations at every single turn.
Like, normally we go into a movie and we get ticked off because before the movie's even halfway done, we've predicted the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think you and me were wrong every single time about every single thing in this movie.
Like, during one key scene, there's, like, throughout the entire, like, 20 minutes of one scene, Josh turned to me and had another prediction for every like 5 minutes, and then finally leaned over and said, "Fuck it, I don't know what's going on anymore."
I was sitting on the other side of Josh. I had the exact same conversation. At one point, like, he did that to me. He's like, "It's like I give up. You know what's going on?" And my reply was like that gif of that girl just like, It's like, I've stopped trying at this point.
I got to a point where I was just like, I'm done. I'm just gonna sit back and see what happens.
Just gonna enjoy the movie like a normal human being supposed to.
It was like, and I mean, it subverts so much, and you just have no idea what's gonna happen next. And that's what I liked about it. It's been so long since I've been able to actually sit and be like, okay, I have no idea what's gonna happen next. Anything can happen, and actually be surprised by what's going on in a movie. So that was enjoyable.
And we can talk about this more later too in the spoilers, but that one scene is probably, I think, is the scene you're talking about. How, in hindsight, it's so obvious because of the little clues. Instead of leaving like one big clue like some movies do, you're like, oh, I caught that. It's like a bunch of little things that if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't know. And then the way, I don't know, man. I don't know. We learned of certain people's origins, certain other people's origins were just kind of not talked about in any way. And
I feel like it's a good movie. I really enjoyed it for what it was. It's very different, and that's kind of why I think I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
that it's a much different type of Star Wars movie. And I know a lot of people had that fear coming off of Force Awakens, saying more or less it was a New Hope clone.
I didn't feel that way at all.
Which I can see, like, the comparisons they made. I could see
like,
why.
Other than, like, oh, it's on a desert, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of comparisons there.
It's like, it's the desert, bigger Death Star.
It's like I said to you, like, it's really weird, these new Star Wars movies. And, of course, I'm not talking about the prequels, because the prequels were unlike anything ever. And will always be that way, because no one wants to repeat that. But like, they successfully make these movies funny, and that's weird. Star Wars isn't funny. There are jokes.
I've heard a lot of comments about that.
Between episode 4, 5, and 6, the only joke is, who you calling scruffy looking? That's like the only real joke. The only jokes in those series is Han Solo just spouting off the C-3PO for the most part. It's like that whole dialogue.
Well, there's a thing. If you go back and rewatch the original trilogy, there are jokes.
There are funny moments.
It's like the line delivery is much different. In this movie, the jokes,
subtle.
The lines are delivered as you would expect joked lines to be delivered. And the OT, a lot of it's kind of, there's jokes that are delivered like jokes, and then jokes that are just delivered like dialogue. It is important to put out.
Have you seen? It's about Star Wars. Let's talk about it. This is not about the new movie, but episode 4. Have you, do you know anything about its actual creation? Because when it was first going to be released, it was considered to be the worst movie of all time.
Yes, I do remember that.
They literally changed the entire order of sequences in that movie in editing. Like, it is almost a completely different movie than it was before. It's really fascinating to watch. It's funny because they answer so many more questions lore wise because so much more happens, but like it just drags out and scenes are in really weird orders. Like the first battle scene, and like 4 or 5 times in that first scene, it just cuts to Luke looking up with his binoculars.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. I had for a long time. I had a storybook novelization of the original script. And it's like, yeah, the movie starts out with, or it cuts back and forth between the space battle and Luke watching the space
What's
battle
really fascinating
from Tatooine.
is the Star Wars radio show actually follows the original.
Yeah, and there's like a whole scene,
but done better.
There's a whole bunch of bunch of scenes in the script of like following Luke's day to day, like him hanging out and
they ended up
Eisley hanging out with Wedge and all.
They ended up cutting that out because they didn't need it. Plus, I don't know, you've never seen the original movie, but because they didn't show Luke until Luke met the droids. When the droids first go to the planet, instead of it being, oh, this is a desert farming planet, it's like this alien planet. You have no idea what's there. You have no idea what's going on. And it just added so much more mystery than it would have otherwise. And another big thing, when they blow up the Death Star in Episode 4, they just blow it up. They like, oh, man, let's go do it. All right, go. We did it. It took a long time. They cut out a bunch of stuff, but there was no like threat other than the Death Star was there. And only in editing did they add in that it was about to attack the Rebel base. They put in scenes. They put in scenes from other parts of the movie that cut. And if you notice, anytime it says, Rebel base in range or this long to Rebel base, it's never showing people. It's always a close up. That way, the audio's coming in. And they actually, I think they all got an award for the editing in that. It's really,
imagine.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Star Wars swept up like tons of awards for editing and special effects and sound design, and because it was like the first of its kind. And
it was supposed to be absolutely awful.
It was. I remember reading a story about 20th Century Fox like trying to write it off because they thought it was going to be a massive failure, and it ended up becoming this huge phenomenon.
Dude, have you read the original scrolling text? It's literally like the plots of Episode 1, 2, and 3. It's so long and it's so
absolutely.
boring and mentions so much stuff that you have no idea what it's talking about.
The original title of the movie was something. It was like this really long title taken from the journals of the Wills, Episode 4, Star Wars. It's a ridiculous thing.
But anyways,
like going through the extended history of Star Wars is incredible. How much changed from the original
I had honestly
inception of the
told
idea.
myself I was going to watch the old ones before we filmed this, and I've just been so busy that I haven't been able to.
That's the thing. This is why I want my hard drive back wherever it is. I don't know where it's at because I have the despecialized versions of the movies on my hard drive, and I don't want to buy the Blu-ray copies.
I'm actually with him on that because, like, I don't know, the original way 4, 5, and 6 were, for the most part, are just way better than when he went back and remastered them.
Which Empire Strikes Back remaster is not bad.
There's a couple things that added that I thought were just interesting because it added just to the background stuff. But there's like certain things they added was just unnecessary.
Like I believe A New Hope is the worst because it has like entire scenes of like CGI that's just so out of place. See, that's the thing is that the special editions would be fine. Like all the remaster they did made the movie look great. But it's like they added in so much, especially in A New Hope, they added in new scenes from Mos Eisley of all this CGI stuff that doesn't fit in with the 70s aesthetic of the film.
Because CGI was new. They were like, oh, this is the new cool thing.
They add in that god-awful Jabba the Hutt scene that's completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
does his size seem inconsistent? Like, is he a lot smaller in that scene?
He is, yeah.
I get why, because it was already filmed way back when, but it's just, like, that's a big size difference. This is like Bowser changing size from Mario game to Mario game kind of size difference.
It's a really unnecessary
Like, he's the size of Han Solo, and then, like, in Episode 6, like Leia's climbing on his back like it's a mountain to get to him. Now that you've said it, I'm thinking about it. It really is a movie about just everyone failing.
Yeah, the whole theme of the film is about failure.
Everything. Everyone fails at everything.
Mm-hmm. They throw that theme right in your face in one key scene that I'm not going to talk about yet. About failure being the greatest teacher. And that's the whole movie is just subverting the idea of cool action heroes making these cool action decisions and succeeding. This movie, every decision ends with failure to some extent. Everything ends in failure, and because of that, the characters grow and they learn something. And it's something that from what I can remember, haven't seen in Star Wars before. Because, I mean, like, there's great character development in the original trilogy, but nothing quite like this. Nothing quite like saying, okay, we're going to try something and we're going to fail, and that's going to help us grow as characters.
Or not grow as some characters.
But, yeah, some characters.
I wonder what we're talking about there.
But, yeah, it's a great movie. I remember leaving the theater and being, like, kind of struggling with what I thought about it because it was so different. And I know a lot of the fan consensus is that it's either you really loved it or you really hated it.
Yeah.
It's very polarizing with a lot of people right now because it's so different that people hate it, but that's the same reason why other people like it, because it's trying to do something different.
But I also feel a lot of times with especially super nerdy movies like Star Wars, and I don't mean that like an insult. I mean, it's got a very strict nerd following, like that. It is the
nerd thing of the nerd thing. Yeah.
Like the
king of nerd.
Can't make one of these movies without people hating it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like if they did it like the old ones, it'd be too much like the old ones, and they're not branching out and making it new and different. If they make it too different, they're not staying true to the old ones. It's like, it's one of those things. It's like, if you want to keep making these movies, you're just going to have to make a risk, and you're just going to have to accept that some people are going to hate it. But I personally, I enjoyed it. I know Star Wars. Like, I'm not like, I know Star Wars, but I know about it. I know the backstory. I know this. Having not seen all of them in order, I've seen some and everything. So I know the characters. I've seen Force Awakens. So watching it, I'm able to keep up with a lot of stuff. I'm sure I miss some things, but I found it really enjoyable, and I liked it.
I did too. This is someone who's been a...
If you're a new Star Wars fan, maybe you just got into it in Force Awakens like I did. Maybe you've seen the old ones. Maybe you're like me and you've meant to see them and everything. Definitely go see it because you'll probably enjoy it. It was fun.
Two things. One, I'm very much in the boat of, like, if you wanted the movie exactly like the original, just go watch the original.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they're changing it up. And two, I just thought about it, though. You could go into this movie having not even seen The Force Awakens and not been that confused.
This is true.
That's how little things got answered in this movie.
Yeah.
But I like that they're doing that in a way because it does help bring in new people.
Yeah. I'm still salty.
I remember talking about when we left the theater about how I didn't feel overwhelmed or underwhelmed. I just felt whelmed. Despite the fact that there was like one or two key scenes where I was literally on the edge of my seat, like with my hands in the air, literally freaking out.
Oh my god, me and William sat right next to each other. He says one or two scenes. It was like half that movie.
Because there was some cool shit. There was some cool shit going on, and I was losing my mind.
Wait for us to get to discuss that stuff.
And but at the end of the movie, overall, like I left the theater feeling just whelmed, and I realized that I really, like, so little happened that I wasn't anticipating the next one, as opposed to like the ends of Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, oh man, there's Luke Skywalker. What's gonna happen in the next one? Where are they gonna go with this? This one kind of doesn't go too far forward. Of course, the movie picks up directly where Force Awakens leaves off, and takes place over the span of like what, a day?
You could have actually ended the whole series on this movie, and it wouldn't have been a bad ending. That's kind of the problem.
I'd say that as well.
Like, you know, there's some in some movies
felt
like
a ending.
Yeah, it felt like an ending. Like, you know, there's more. The bad guys are still there. The good guys are just starting. But it very well could have been like one of those endings that's about the journey, not the destination. That's very much what it was. It was about the journey there, not the destination. So you don't really feel like you got anywhere. This is starting to be like Justice League again, where we're like, oh, we liked the movie. It was awful.
Well, I personally like this a lot more than I like Justice League.
Awful.
There's been some reviews that people are preferring Justice League over this, and I'm like, oh my god.
No, this was really? Yeah. That makes no sense. No, this was a great movie. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I do have some issues with it. Like,
I do too, but at the end of the day, it's
I have to say though,
movie.
This movie, like, I loved Force Awakens. It was a lot of fun, but this movie is the movie that makes me want to go back and watch Star Wars.
And that's the thing, is that what makes it a great movie to me?
This movie, I feel, is the movie that officially has really hooked me and makes me want to get into it.
Is that this movie, I have issues with it as a Star Wars fan, not as a movie fan.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
And that's the thing.
There's a big
Is that
difference.
This movie
there.
It's
was
a great
aesthetically
movie, but I do have some
beautiful.
issues with it as a fan of Star Wars.
This movie was aesthetically beautiful. Like
It was. It
absolutely
was really nice to
beautiful.
look at.
Yeah, we saw some very interesting. Well, a very interesting location that's a lot less.
And
Star
one of the
Wars-y.
most gorgeous scenes of any
Oh.
Star Wars film.
Like gorgeous and
feel-
aesthetically pleasing.
I
Yes.
feel we are thinking the exact same scene.
Hyperspeed attack.
Yeah, that's the exact same scene I'm thinking of.
Anime attack is what I refer to it as.
Yep. God,
Yeah,
I
that was-
cannot wait to get into
That was
oh my
another one of
God.
those where like I didn't see that coming until it was about to happen.
I
See,
physically
in my
stopped
opinion,
breathing.
This movie
during that
has
scene.
both the best scene in all of Star Wars history and probably one of the worst scenes in all of Star Wars history.
What's the worst scene? Well, we'll talk about it in a minute.
I was gonna say we'll
Yeah.
have to get to it later.
The thing is, it's not even a bad moment. It's just executed in a very silly way to where even like it's a cool moment, but it's done in a way that it made me chuckle and think,
Now,
why are they doing this?
when you say all of Star Wars, are you talking about Episode 4 up? Because let's be honest, the worst scene of all of Star Wars is that 30-minute scene of Obi-Wan Kenobi talking in like a 50s diner. That scene is long and pointless. That's got to be the worst. Or
That's just the entirety of Attack of the Clones, long
No,
and pointless.
no, with the exception of like the fight with Boba Fett or Jango Fett. That was a good fight. The
The
fight with
spaceship fight, maybe.
yeah, exactly.
With the
Well, yeah.
cool Sonic.
with the dubstep asteroids. Yeah,
yeah, that's it.
yeah. That's the only good scene in that movie. That's the only scene anyone remembers from that movie because they've repressed the rest of it.
God, that movie's so boring. Like, not even.
Like sand.
Phantom Menace is dumb but enjoyable.
I know,
Attack
right?
of the Clones is just dumb and boring. And
Yeah.
I actually did manage someone. I spent a lot of time finding fan edits on the internet, and I found a fan edit of Attack of the Clones that I really liked.
Nice.
And
It's
it's funny because it cuts out a majority.
Everything of the movie.
It cuts out a lot of the movie and re-implements a lot of deleted scenes and
Oh.
makes a better movie out of it.
Oh, that's sad. So you want to talk about why there's porgs in the movie? Because I didn't know that until you told me.
Yeah,
I've
the
been
Porgs.
telling everybody this ever since William told me. I've told like
So
everybody,
have we
and I feel
fact checked
so...
him, or is he just making this up?
No, I trust William more than I trust the internet, so I just don't.
I saw
fact
this
check
on
William.
the Star Wars subreddit, so I don't know.
Oh, so
William-
it must be true.
William
But-
could tell me
Oh,
that.
speaking of the Star Wars subreddit, someone posted a chart on the Star Wars subreddit that was like, it was at the top. It said, "Did you like The Last Jedi?" And it had two arrows pointing down to a yes and a no. And then those two arrows converged into a thing that said, "Then you're not a real Star Wars
I
fan."
saw that.
Yeah.
And the caption was this entire subreddit this weekend. But anyways, yeah, the story, from what I understand and read, was that the island they filmed on is inhabited by so many puffins that they couldn't keep them out of shots, and that's where the Porgs came from. So they invented the Porgs, so they'd have a cute little bird creature on the island and have something to CGI over the puffins.
So the first thing that one of my coworkers asked me whenever I got to work the next day, because he was like, "You saw Star Wars?" And I was like, "Yes." And he looked at me and he was like, "Porgs," and he was like, "Were they like Jar Jar?" And I don't know why that was his go-to fear, but I told him, I was like, "No," I was like, luckily they're just basically there. Like, they're just creatures, and they're just
And that's the
there.
best thing, is that they don't
even mention what they are.
Yeah, they're
in the
they're
movie.
very rarely in the movie. Like, they're in some few scenes,
Yeah.
and they're perfect.
They're adorable.
Yeah,
I
They
think
are the best. Every time a Porg came on screen, me and Lori were just
I know, we'd look at each other
We both
every
just went,
time, and we would just freak out every time we saw a single porg.
they're adorable. I love them all.
I'm probably it's like marketing at its finest, because I seriously think I want to buy every single porg plushie.
like my
in
favorite Porg
existence.
moment is actually the first one where
Mhm.
they're jumping out to look at the lightsaber, and that one Porg looks directly down the
I
barrel
know, I really...
of the lightsaber.
And the other one's jumping right
yeah,
next
and
to
I
the
was like,
button.
"Get out of the way, you adorable, stupid idiot bird!"
Oh, boy.
Oh, the Porgs. And poor Chewie just
It's really
having
great.
to deal with all these Porgs in his Millennium Falcon. Let's talk about that for a moment. Seeing Chewie flying the Millennium Falcon.
It's a bit sad. Like,
Man, he's a
Tug's-
good pilot, though. Woo!
Apparently, everyone that flies the Millennium Falcon
Is a great
Because
pilot.
they all pull the same stunt every single time, and the Empire or whatever, the First Order, fall for the same tricks. I guess it's because no one lives to tell the tale.
I guess not, yeah.
No one lives to tell
Blow
the
that
tactics.
piece of junk out of the sky!
Like I mean, I love the scenes, but every Millennium Falcon scene is like, all right, let's go. Let's twist through some narrow passage. Oh, the gun's gone.
That's what I did, and that's how I fly it when I play Battlefront. In the first Battlefront, you can unlock the Millennium Falcon
for $14.99.
Unlike the Millennium Falcon. That's the thing. When I played when I bought the first Battlefront and played it, I was like, "Oh, this game's awful." And, but I was playing an air battle, and suddenly it fades out and it fades back in, and the Millennium Falcon comes in right above, and I'm controlling it, and I went, "Holy shit! I'm flying the Millennium Falcon!" And I did a Twitter update that was like, "Star Wars Battlefront is
What?
fucking awful, but I'm flying the Millennium Falcon 11 out of 10."
That's all it took. I guess let's
Stop.
go into the spoilers.
Spoiler time.
Well,
Yep.
before we do that, if you don't want to hear spoilers, there's nice seeing you. Bye.
Thanks for viewing this. This has been a very short podcast for you.
Yeah, well, you know,
This
But
is the
make
Star Wars
sure-
special. We're just talking
Yeah.
about episode 8 in this one. So
I don't have a lot more to add.
we really don't. Yeah,
I
especially.
probably do, but I've been up.
I mean,
a
that's the
long
thing. I
time.
can't. I don't
After
have anything
you've
more to talk
gone-
about spoiler
After
related.
you have gone and watched it, come back, pick up right where you left off, and come listen to us talk about
Exactly,
spoilers.
and it counts
Perfect.
as 2 views and 2
Yeah,
downloads
that's-
for
Yeah,
it.
and it counts as 2 podcasts.
Matter of fact, if you are going to listen to the spoilers, just stop and just re-download this podcast. Just
That's
get
the
our
thing
numbers
is
up.
that this podcast covers this week and next week.
Yeah, see, we get to
It
be
counts
lazy.
as
It
2.
works
Good,
perfectly.
because we won't see.
You
We're not
can't-
going to see each other for like another week after
You're
this.
getting
so
2 for the price of 1.
If you're leaving, you got any questions or comments or theories or complaints, or if you want us to talk about something in particular, just hit us up on Twitter at _nerddom or at nerdlykingdom@gmail.com. Woo! Okay,
You can also
now
get us on our
Hey.
Facebook.
now spoilers.
Time for the spoiler.
Oh,
All right, spoiler number 1.
No. Spoiler number 1. What do you think about that cameo?
Which
The
cameo?
little green dude.
Little Yoda. Oh, dude, this is the best scene in the whole
Oh,
fucking movie.
yeah.
The second best.
They
scene.
went. I think it was still CGI. I couldn't tell.
No, it was
It
the
looked
puppet.
It looked like the puppet.
It was puppet and
It was-
CGI.
yeah.
puppet GI.
Puppet GI. But it's so great too that one of the things I love about it so much is that
Yoda is still an asshole. In
Yoda-
the best possible
this
way.
Yoda is more Yoda than prequel Yoda was Yoda.
Well, prequel Yoda could still move them old bones. He hadn't
Who
become
cares?
he hadn't become grumpy old man yet.
This is sarcastic, fun Yoda who is
Destroying
dead and does not give a
trees.
fuck about
I know, right?
anything
Like,
anymore.
nearly kills Luke and then starts laughing about it.
Like I was actually very impressed with Ryan Johnson's dialogue for Yoda because it is such a Yoda scene and it's such a beautiful perfect scene.
And the whole time Yoda's still saying mysterious ass
yes, it's
like
so
hints
perfect. It's
that you
great.
don't realize is a mysterious ass hint until you figure out what he's talking about. You're like, oh, that was a mysterious ass hint.
Like
he gave us just then.
there's 3 different scenes in the movie that made me cover my mouth and gasp because it made me so excited. That scene where it pans around the tree and it pans around and you see Yoda's ear and then you see the back of his head and you're like, oh my god, it's fucking Yoda. That scene, the scene where Luke sees R2 on the Millennium Falcon. The only scene R2's in the whole fucking movie,
Yeah.
if you didn't
Yeah.
notice that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so weird. He's in that one scene.
I love that shot. It's like there's nothing you can do to
Yeah,
make.
that it almost made me cry. Luke's like, there's nothing you can do to change my mind and make me go back. And he plays Princess Leia's message from A New Hope. I literally almost cried right there in the theater. Like I was, oh my god!
I
like
loved
like
it.
the kid inside of me just came out.
That was so funny because like I leaned into Josh like that was cheap, and then Luke immediately like that was
Luke,
cheap.
that's a cheap
Yeah.
move. If anything, this movie succeeds at like bringing out that child in me that just watching Star Wars for the first time. It hits all these emotional points for me.
It's interesting. It's one of the few movies that like purposely tries to hit the nostalgia factor while still being its own thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
it hits the nostalgia factor while serving the story. It does it perfectly. Like Force Awakens has the nostalgia moments that kind of work, and then moments that don't kind of work that just seem like throwaway. Like, oh, I remember this. Like the whole Rey's like, you did the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs, 12 stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, see,
but
the what I love about that scene though is what that's also doing though is pointing out how differently people remember Han Solo.
yeah, that's a good point.
Because it's like Han Solo's like the war general. No, the smuggler.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about. Yeah, like that scene really hit my heart. Something fierce.
Something fierce.
Something fierce.
Is that more or less than when the Porg is crying because Chewie's trying to eat a Porg?
Oh, that one did make me cry.
Hurt me.
Me and Lori both looked at each other and just melted.
We were like,
we were just like, oh
I was like, eat it, eat it, eat it. Yeah, I was so excited.
because it lingers on the poor little face, and I was like, this is so sad. Who approved this?
Well, maybe he was actually trying to eat a penguin, and then the penguin walked up. You don't know. That could have been real.
It was so pitiful, the poor thing. But anyways, what I was mentioning before, the best scene in all of Star Wars, and the worst star. The best scene is the scene where they hyperspeed the spaceship into the First Order fleet.
Oh my gosh.
Or Holdo.
Holdo, yeah, Laura Dern's character.
Yeah.
And it goes full anime. Where it's just complete silence.
It's such an intense scene to begin with because it's one of those things where if it was a TV show, this would be the cliffhanger. Because you've got people leaving and they're getting killed. Yeah. You've got her in this ship and like you don't know what she's doing. You've got Finn and them about to die. You've got Phasma being the evil queen
They had a lot of moments like that in this movie. There's so many times like it's going to end right here. This is it. It's going to end right here, and it didn't.
Oh, that was a perfect moment, too, where Phasma was like, you're nothing but scum, and Finn goes, rebel scum. I went, yeah!
God.
Fucking rock, Finn. That scene was cool.
I love how the ship looked, because it wasn't just like a straight crash into. I don't know what the logic behind it would be, but because it was going to hyperspace, like, like the ship hit it in like 20 different places at the same time. It made no sense.
It was
and
so
I love it.
Cool and weird. Now, the worst scene, and like I said, it's not a bad scene, but it's just executed in a weird way. Now, there's a scene where the bridge to the Resistance ship is blown out, and everyone gets sucked into space, Princess Leia included.
Oh, I know where you're going.
And I was like, I thought that was it for her. I was like, oh, they actually killed her. Wow. And I was like, okay, I'm okay with this, because, you know, it seemed fine. Like, if there's a way Leia's gonna go out, you know, this would have been it. And then, it cuts to a shot of her body floating through space, frozen. And then her hand twitches, and she comes back to life and uses the Force to force pull her way back into the ship. And it's cool because it's like, oh, we've never seen Leia use the Force. So, you know, having a moment of Leia using the Force is cool. But it's just the way they executed it and the way they made it look. It's very silly looking.
See, I almost, and I know a lot of people kind of feel that way. I didn't. I don't know. I thought it was a really cool scene.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is it's cool, but it's just, I don't know, like there's something about it that made it look very weird. And I don't know why. I think it's just the fact of frozen body in space and, oh, I'm alive, sorry. I saw someone mention that a cool way she could have used the Force is that when that happened, instead of everyone getting sucked into space, she uses the Force to create a barrier inside to keep everyone in the air inside.
That would have been cool, too.
We would have not lost our poor Admiral Akbar as well.
Yeah, it was this time.
Ooh, another thing that brought up was that someone mentioned that Holdo being the one to kamikaze into the First Order fleet should have been Admiral Akbar. Because it would have been such a beautiful moment.
It's a trap.
Yes. No. It is. So on the bridge of the First Order ship, have Hux notice it's spinning around, and then it's a trap. It's a trap.
Oh man!
And then
Jesus.
Oh man, that would have been great.
Imagine how beautiful that would have been.
It was funny though because I was so pissed off at that scene until she did kamikaze into that ship, because otherwise it's like, you guys go, I'll come and pilot. It's like, don't tell me this $1 billion ship ain't got autopilot on it. Like, all you're doing is driving in a straight line. It's not like you can just put like something heavy on the accelerator and get out of there. Like you.
But no,
but she needed that to be redeemed because everything else had set you up to hate that character.
I guess, but at the same time, like, until she did that, it was so unnecessary. It's like a captain has to go down with the ship. Like, why?
Because
like,
that's rules.
like if
that's the rule.
It's the rules. The thing is they never had an intent to kill Leia off in this. Leia was meant to be in the next one. And the directors actually talked about he did not change a single scene that Carrie Fisher did. He actually, after she passed, he thought long and hard about it. And he was actually quoted saying the best thing he could have done was preserve Fisher's last beautiful, complete performance.
Yes.
So,
yes.
He didn't change it.
And she is very beautiful.
And J.J. Abrams has, I think it was him, has said that he's not gonna CGI her into the other one. He doesn't feel it's right, and so this was Leia's last the last time you're gonna see her.
I gotta admit though, they're getting pretty good at CGI-ing people in though.
Yeah, they're getting pretty better. I had one more thing I wanted to bring up, but I can't remember.
Should have got them to take the mustache off of us. They could have just CGI'd in a whole other Superman.
All right, was the scene of Luke milking that cow giraffe thing necessary?
Yes, it was.
Why?
Because it's one of those things that like addresses the issue before people start complaining about it. Like, how's he living on that island like that? He's been there forever. Oh, what's he eating for food? What's he gonna eat? They showed it. It was weird. Get over it. It's done.
I remember that scene. I leaned over to William and I just go, titties.
What makes it weird though is it's not weird, but it's the face he gives Rey after he chugs that milk.
I believe he's intentionally
strong bones.
He's intentionally trying to
get rid of her.
Yeah,
that feeling you had was the exact feeling he was trying to get.
It was so creepy. Like, it made me uncomfortable.
What doesn't get me is the face he gives Rey. What gets me is the face the creature he's milking gives Rey. Just stares her just dead in the eye.
It's a weird scene, but now that you've explained it,
I completely forgot about that scene. Like, I erased it from my mind.
Now here's the important thing.
Kylo Ren destroyed his helmet, and it hurt me.
That was a bad
He'll
scene,
have it back though. Now that what's his face is going.
He'll make a new one.
Shit.
To be
He'll
fair
make
though,
a new one.
his hair is way too glorious to be
God,
contained.
Adam Driver, your hair is so beautiful.
And your body's so wide.
So, okay, really quick, because that
you got me slipping. You got me
I've heard he's got an 8-pack.
I did not imagine Adam Driver being that fit, because when he's in his outfit and everything like that, he looks very slim. And he is slim, but with his shirt off, he's very...
That's because his pants went up to like his belly button. Like he's an old
super,
man.
He's super stout, and I was like, oh man, he was riding, Matt the Radar.
That's hilarious too, where Rey's like, can you put a cloak on or something? He just ignores it completely.
Before that, she's like, this is not the best time. He goes, yeah, it really isn't, or something like that.
I was like,
you call me working out.
This is the most awkward, gratuitous, shirtless scene I've ever seen, and it hurts because Adam Driver doesn't look bad.
See, that was the thing, was when they started force connecting, I turned to Josh and I was like, I guarantee you she's Han and Leia's daughter. And then I was like, I guarantee you they're twins, and that's why they have twins have that weird twin ability.
See, that's what
they're doing that with the Force. They have that weird Force twin ability.
Before we get into that,
that's what I
have a theory on that. Before you know that, who the fuck is Snoke?
Andy Serkis. He played Gollum.
Who?
I guess we gotta read some fucking Snoke novel.
Here's the thing.
I'm gonna write a Snoke fanfic with his entire backstory, you guys. It's great.
Is they're like, oh, does he have to be connected to the old movies? Yes! Because, like, this dude is stronger than Palpatine was, and you can...
I
like,
think they specifically, J.J. Abrams specifically said they created him to have been a character that existed during the prequel
if he's a
era.
Sith that strong, someone would have fucking noticed
He's
somewhere.
pretty damn strong.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like using the Force without lifting a fucking finger and all this shit. That's the thing, is that this is why I'm so disappointed in Snoke being killed off so quickly. Is because you have Palpatine, who's just this quiet, solemn, his hands hang down like this, and he talks just like this.
Do it.
And Snoke's a fucking badass. Andy Serkis brings so much malice
I
and
still couldn't
character
believe
to
that
Snoke.
was Andy Serkis.
Like it was, I was
couldn't.
legitimately like in shock at how cool Snoke was in this movie. And it's like, nope, okay, he's gone.
Is he, though? Oh, is he, though?
Maybe he's strong enough to fucking conjure up a Force ghost.
Oh, damn. We never
Snoke
had...
versus Luke Force ghost fight. I want it.
I'm not sure how I would feel about that. That seems a bit tacky. But at the same time, damn.
I know.
Damn.
That's the thing about this movie is that they get all the old characters
What
out of the way
would
to
he do,
focus
though?
on.
He would just, like, manifest over Kylo and be like, the fuck, bro?
I said, I don't want to know. I don't want that now that I think about it. I think about the idea of having a Snoke Luke lightsaber fight, and then I think about Count Dooku versus Yoda, and I go, no. No. Let's not.
Yeah. Yeah. But, okay. So, Kylo's whole thing is like, you have to let go of the past to be a good...
To fulfill your destiny.
Be a good Force user, yeah, to fulfill
I
your
know
destiny.
it's my destiny.
He's like, yeah, I'm basing all this off of something that some old dude that was manipulating me said. But that one thing he said was probably true. I should listen to that one part,
but the thing
right?
is Kylo's also really young.
Yeah, I know.
He's really young.
Kylo
he's
is
really
one of the
emotional.
best Star Wars characters ever been written.
I know, it just bugs me. But my whole point...
And you can tell in his temper tantrums that he's super
Kylo
emotional.
Kylo Ren is what
like,
Anakin
so-
Skywalker should have been.
It's still like, he kills this dude and be like, well, I'm still going to follow the stuff he said, though, because, that makes sense. But my whole point is, he's like, you have to let go of the past to whatever, which is why I think when he said Rey's parents were random people, he was lying, because if she knew who her parents
way.
were,
Yeah.
she
way.
definitely would not have let go, and that's what he wanted. He wanted her to let go to join him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why Rian Johnson brought up the idea of
But why would
leaving
Leia-
that open.
Why would
so
Leia
that-
not have told her yet, though?
She may not have felt
Do they just
ready.
That's the thing, is that now I don't know. I don't know what's
maybe
going
it's
on.
not, though.
Because she cannot be someone unimportant because of the way they talk about her in Force Awakens.
Maybe she is Luke's daughter.
She's a girl. She's the new Force.
Because I don't know how. Maybe, yeah, that's also possible. That she's the new Jesus.
But
Like-
there was just so many things that I feel were foreshadowing to her and Kylo
I agree.
being
Like,
related.
Yeah.
And you cannot put that amount of elements like that and not have it done,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's just lazy.
It'll be like, oh, look at all these hints we're gonna leave, and then not actually
and then not
do.
actually fulfill
It's
them.
like being written by Stephen Moffat.
Oh, I was gonna say M. Night Shyamalan, but
Well,
but it's
we got
like
one more movie
the
to go,
point
so-
of foreshadowing is to build up to
like,
something
go
like
and
that.
go and rewatch the Force Awakens with that in mind. There's a lot of hints,
Mhm.
like that one scene everyone made fun of where after Han dies, Leia runs in and she hugs Rey instead of Chewie.
Yeah.
Like the moment Han meets Rey, the only thing he tries to do is convince her not to leave.
Well, and
He's
see,
trying to get her to stay on his ship.
and I was just watching Force Awakens before we went and saw The Last Jedi, and watching Han Solo on it, you can almost see him as a father who has abandoned this child, who is too afraid to tell her that he is her father. Like, even the whole, hey, do you want to be part of my crew?
Yeah.
And you're like, come on, you're her dad. Like, you can tell.
Even when they're at Maz's castle and Maz asks who's the
Who's
girl,
the girl?
and Han does that whole breathe in, breathe out thing, like he's about to tell her something really important. And they drop a lot of hints. I guess it just depends on what they decide to do with episode 9. It's
I
just
was gonna
JJ's
say,
writing and directing it
It
again.
almost feels they just didn't want to drop it yet.
Yeah,
And so
it's just
they
it's
went
going to
with
be a
Kylo
gradual.
Frankly, they
Fine.
could just say she was a super, super powerful what's-her-face, and They hid her because they were afraid Snoke was gonna get her. Maybe she's Snoke's daughter. I don't know. If I throw out every single theory, one of them is bound to be right.
She is the daughter of Yoda. As if you watch very carefully and take her like shot screen for screen, she turns slightly greener every time you see her.
What else you got?
Okay, but was Maz Kanata's cameo in this movie really necessary?
Who?
Maz?
I don't know. Maybe not, but maybe the whole point was to make sure you didn't forget about her because she's going to have an important role in next one.
I guess.
It was kind of funny.
Like I said, these movies are probably better.
You're gonna have to. Who are we talking about?
The little lady with the glasses.
Nyong'o alien character.
I don't know why I didn't know that name.
But I guess when you watch all three of them back to back, it'll make more sense as a trilogy because it's been a long time since I've had the spaced out trilogies.
What is that? This. What is that last sentence on your notes there?
Kylo Ren wide.
Wide. I thought you said wild. Either way, that's not really.
Kylo Ren wild. And
I don't know that that's spoilers.
Okay.
But...
one thing I want to mention, just because it was such a cool moment. My favorite scene in the entire movie was the scene where
it could be one of two scenes. I don't know which one it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker walks out to confront the army of AT-AT walkers in First Order because. In that moment, you don't know he's a projection.
Yeah.
But
you should have.
That moment is so magical and so goddamn cool that there's no doubt in your mind that Luke Skywalker cannot take on everything in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, he could have if he wanted to. The thing is, though, if he wanted to, though, he could have reflected all that back and just blown up everything.
And that's the best part of the movie for me. And what makes that part so magical for me is that this is the most powerful character and maybe like third most powerful character.
I love the
lore.
fear you see in Kylo Ren. Like Adam Driver just drove that scene home.
He's so
because he knows
everything we have. And he's like, I think we got him.
And
he just brushes his shoulder off.
It's
so Luke Skywalker.
How young and immature Kylo Ren is.
Well, I mean, I think that point though was like how. He knew he was in trouble then, though. Like, he knew, like, that was when he knew
Uncle
he fucked up. I think
like, you always have that one uncle who comes around and you're just
like,
that
brush off the shoulder, that was another scene of Mark Hamill playing Luke, playing Mark Hamill. Like, that was just so much more him than it was Luke.
Okay, but other than that, too, what's everyone's consensus on what they've done with Luke Skywalker's character here?
I'm going to step back from this one.
I don't have an issue with it.
I mean, I find it weird. I don't have an issue with it now, but initially, it's a weird take for him.
I think it's not though. I think the issue was that Luke in Episode 6 was too much. Like he was acting like the Jedi did in.
Yeah,
the prequels, which wouldn't have made really sense for Luke. I think because Luke started so late, and because of the way Luke was raised and the kind of stuff he went through to get there, I feel like this Luke now is more what Luke should have acted like before. Like he's not a proper Jedi. He's something much more better, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, he's beyond the Jedi Order.
Because I always thought the Jedi Order were lame because like. They say because Luke is so much about the light, and the other Jedi you have to follow the light. But the Jedi Order never did anything to do the light. They were like completely emotionless. That's not light or dark. That's just bland. That's why they lost. Is because they refused to embrace the light side of the Force. Yeah. And that's my theory. And Luke did. Everything Luke did was he did because he cared about those people. Because he was actually embracing the light side. Yeah. And that's what made him better. And I feel like the Luke we see now is much more that kind of Luke. Like he's not afraid to show the emotion. He embraces it to defeat Kylo. That's a great scene.
Yeah, that's one thing about the prequels now. That now I've gone through this stage of as a kid loving the prequels because that's what I grew up with, and then as I got older hating the prequels, and now going back to not loving the prequels but appreciating them more. Because the politics stuff's great. Now that I'm older and actually like politics, and pointing out all the different ways that the Jedi Order were just completely wrong about everything and how awful and stupid the Jedi Order were.
So, like,
It's
here's
just
my question.
fantastic.
Is every Jedi temple built on top of some dark force
Just
thing?
that one. Because
No, but what the one in this movie we just saw was?
Oh, that's a good point.
What was that thing? That weird anus she crawled into?
I don't know.
That was full of mirrors?
It was
forgot
the
about
devil's
that.
anus.
An anus full of mirrors. That's the epitome of the dark side
Like,
of the
I don't
Force.
understand.
Look into the reflective butthole.
That scene, I don't understand.
I forgot about that scene.
I think
don't
what
know.
that scene is, though, is like he mentions, like she looked into the dark side of the Force without hesitating, and it scared him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's more of a sign of what an actual Jedi should be. They don't stray away from the dark side. They just embrace the light side.
Yeah.
And I think that makes her much more powerful than any Jedi we've seen before because
isn't that essentially what Luke Skywalker does in Legends? In the old extended universe, in old EU books?
I have no idea.
It's basically just embrace both sides of the Force.
More or less.
And
At least
become, like, the most
from the
powerful.
few games I remember. Like, my favorite Jedi has got to be the one from Jedi Knight. I don't know if you've ever...
Like Kyle Katarn.
Yes. I love it so much because he's got to be the most sarcastic Jedi ever. I remember playing Jedi Academy, which was one of those games that I loved when it came out, and if I play that now, it's like, this is the worst game I've ever played.
That's why I can't play Knights of the Old Republic anymore, because it's
so
good.
No, the first Knights of the Republic I could play over and over
but
again.
it's like...
The second one, not so much.
And it I hate to say, like, it's a graphics issue, but it is a graphics issue. Because it's just so old now. And
Yeah, but the thing is, Knights of the Republic, we're so far off track, but Knights of the Republic I like because of the type of game it was. It really was. Knights of the Republic was a D&D game. I don't know if anyone realizes it, but the stats it used were Dungeons and Dragons based, more or less. And
like, my perception now is, like, me going back to play Knights of the Old Republic now is almost equivalent to me going and playing GoldenEye 64.
That's a stretch. That's unfair.
Like, I
That's
started
not
playing it and I
fair.
just couldn't get into it again because I got so turned off by how it looked.
Can and have. I have done it before. But what I was getting at,
Plus, it's complicated.
and Jedi Academy, you have, what is it? What's his name? Kyle?
Kyle Katarn.
There's this one scene and Luke's like, I sense a disturbance in the Force. And Kyle just looks at him and goes, you always sense a disturbance in the Force. I was like, he's just saying what everyone's thinking.
Kyle Katarn's a racist uncle.
I just feel like, where's my pink Power Ranger shot glass?
Hashtag classy.
Yeah, well.
I'm not drinking tonight. Actually, I've taken a couple sips of this rum, but
I mean, I'm only 2 shots
turn
in.
up.
I'm a bigger guy.
I'm already tired. I gotta drive home and I've gotta move tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you got a long day.
You got responsibilities, being
But
a grown up.
I'm so excited though.
But
It's so much fun.
I feel like there's the
I thought I got a
scene.
bed canopy.
Where do I get that lightsaber snake sword thing? That's all I want in life.
Oh, that
You know
thing
what
was so
reminded
cool.
me of?
What's that?
Like the one time that I played one of the Soul Calibur games.
Yeah, exactly.
And my character
Yes,
had
yes,
the
that's what it
thing.
reminded me of.
That's exactly
I
what
kept
it is.
thinking all weekend, what did I seen that before?
Oh yeah,
Soul Calibur.
sorry, I was talking
Yeah.
with Josh. Yeah, because it's Ivy's sword.
Yeah,
which
that's
I
it.
thought had
Oh
a
my
name.
God.
And I just
Well,
looked. I looked it up
I
while we were
had the
recording.
scythe. I had the scythe in that game
Wow.
that did that, and it was my favorite thing in the world.
I looked it up on the. I looked it up while we were recording. And the sword is just called Snake Sword. So I was
Snake
like,
sword.
apparently they don't have a name.
It's
I thought
a sneaky snake.
I thought it had some sort of name of some kind, but whatever.
That fight.
That whole
scene
fight scene was fantastic.
Incredible.
It was.
And
that,
for a brief
that
second-
lightsaber catch, ignite, and oh, it was great.
That-
Headshot.
That
for
whole
a brief
scene,
for a brief second, I thought Kylo was gonna be redeemed.
Like that-
and I was just like, oh my god.
yeah,
and
I
then
didn't know.
no.
I did not
And
know
then no.
which way. That scene was
Kylo
gonna
Ren
go.
fulfilled his Sith training. The apprentice kills the master.
How is
Ooh.
that Sith training?
As every Sith
Well,
has
That's-
completed their training by killing their master.
That's a terrible training. How do you end up making? You can't make more Sith unless you like.
That's how it works.
Unless you're like training 3 people at the same time, they all kill you simultaneously.
Plagueis
it's like
killed the Sith
Stardust.
before
Whichever
him.
one kills you.
Sidious
is
killed
the...
Plagueis. Vader killed Palpatine.
Yeah, but that's not Sith training. Vader killed Palpatine as redemption. And apparently he didn't kill him well enough because he came back in these movies, because until proven otherwise, Snoke is Palpatine. Deal with it. He even did the Force Lightning. Have we ever seen anyone
Thunder.
in the movies do
Count
Force
Dooku.
Lightning? Oh, yeah, but...
It's possible.
Yoda did
Is it Count
lightning in
Dooku?
this
Count
movie.
Dooku is Snoke.
Count Dooku is Snoke. No, it can't be.
Yoda did lightning in this movie because it was mentioned that this is the first time that you actually see a Jedi use the lightning.
But he didn't.
Yoda summoned lightning. Yoda didn't shoot lightning from his fingers like
It's
Sidious.
the same thing.
Is it? Maybe he just has weather manipulation powers. Like he could have made a tornado if he wanted.
He's a ghost. He can do whatever he wants.
I feel like though if he could have like manipulated weather, that would have been a great way to end.
Okay,
episode.
but we got Yoda. Why ain't we got no Obi-Wan Kenobi joining him?
Apparently, Ewan McGregor had wanted to be in it, but he had like other
That could be.
things.
It'd be so easy to
We
give
did get two
Ewan
lines.
McGregor
We did get two
Alec
lines from
Guinness
Obi-Wan
with it.
Kenobi in The Force Awakens.
We did, yeah.
If you're
Hopefully, episode 9 we get some Force Ghost Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda and Luke hanging out, drinking
what
some
we
brews.
need, what we need,
just being bros.
we need Anakin to Force Ghost into Kylo and slap him upside the face and go, "Bitch! Did you learn nothing about what I did?"
That's the thing. That's the weird thing is that Force Ghosts are able to appear to anyone.
I would imagine that
But-
maybe Anakin doesn't. This is going a bit beyond the normal lore, but Anakin can't do it as well because even though he is Force Jesus, he's made of Force. He wasn't technically trained. Oh, he was trained by Obi-Wan though, so he should have been trained in that weird aspect of the Force that lets you do that.
I actually looked this up a few hours ago, because me and Josh were talking about this, the idea that Anakin can Force Ghost just because he is pure Force. But apparently, what it was
Jesus.
he's able to do that because he's full Force. However, there's different ways. You can either come back as just a voice, which is what Qui-Gon can do. Qui-Gon cannot materialize himself. He can just speak to different people. There's the voice,
Oh, I held that shot in too long.
a gray blob, or a full
A gray blob?
a gray blob, or a full on
Apparition.
Apparition. When Anakin died, he was met in the Force afterlife by Obi-Wan and Yoda, who taught him how to apparate.
Oh, that
physically.
would suck. You die like your training is still going. Like, screw this. This
You
is not
die, the first people you see in Force Heaven is the Master who destroyed you and Yoda.
And be like, I thought I was done with school. I went back and got my Force GED, and I die, and I'm still going to training.
Surprise!
It's weird because if Anakin did show up, it would be Hayden Christensen because they retconned all that and made him Hayden Christensen in canon, which kind of makes sense, honestly, because you can I believe I read that as a Force Ghost, you can choose what form you would like to come back
Obi-Wan just chose to be
as.
Obi-Wan.
Or it's rather the Force. You come back as the image of what people remember you as. So
I suppose he wanted to come back as young him and not him with half a face.
Well, that's the only vision of Obi-Wan or Anakin that Obi-Wan and Yoda had.
That's true.
Prior to Vader, Luke had nothing except crusty old white
Yeah,
man.
I was about to say, yeah.
So
the guy looked kind of like Ivan Ooze.
yeah. So it kind of makes
smell
sense.
Jedi.
I think the best thing, there's got to be someone out there that's done it, that superimposed it, and instead of it being like old Anakin or young Anakin, it's just James Earl Jones ghost there. Like,
I'm sure they have.
let's be honest, he's more Darth Vader than anyone else.
Have you seen the old footage of David Prowse plays Darth Vader physically, but on set he would read the lines, and I believe David Prowse is Scottish, and so the lines are like this deep Scottish accent, and it's so great.
I've not seen that.
But
We're so bad at staying on topic. I just realized we're supposed to be talking
it's
about
all
spoilers.
Star Wars. It's all
It's all
Star
Star
Wars
Wars
related.
related. It's fine.
You guys
we
can
talked
chill.
about Toy Story and the
If-
Marvel one. We're fine.
Yeah, it's like if they've made it through our other podcast, they're probably going, wow, they're staying on topic pretty well.
Yeah,
They're still
it's
talking
like-
about Star
it's like,
Wars.
what?
Let's see. What else do we have to talk about? Star Wars?
The cameos,
Episode
I know,
8
is one
related.
thing.
Cameos.
Oh my god, yes.
So many cameos that I can think of. Let's go ahead and name them. Prince Harry and William.
Which is alleged. It's not 100% certain that it was, but they did get a VIP tour of the set, and so people do believe that they did get to
Got
be
Stormtrooper cameos.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy has a
Mhm.
Stormtrooper cameo.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Fishman Cat Bro.
voices a catfish alien in the casino.
And then this one.
I know. He was like, "Oh, yep, that's them. That's them that park there on that beach there. That's." That's just irresponsible of them doing that. It's so weird.
This one isn't so much a cameo as it's already a person in the movie, but apparently Mark Hamill lied to the director, saying that he had done CGI characters in the past for Star Wars or something like that. The director was like, "Oh, okay, well here." And so Mark Hamill is 100% the drunk alien
Little
that
alien
puts coins into BB-8.
Edgar Wright and Oscar Wright play resistance rebels in as Edgar says, a blink and you miss it cameo.
Oh my god.
So Carrie Fisher's
who
dog is in the casino scene as well. Well, I don't think it's him, but there's a dog alien that's modeled after Gary Fisher.
Oh, and then you had Benicio del Toro playing as Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, Benicio del Toro is a very small role. More or less could have been a cameo.
His cameo is Johnny Knoxville.
The
really
Master Code Breaker, the actual Master Code Breaker is Justin.
Yeah,
I was looking at this, but I didn't.
Talking about you. What was that about?
However you pronounce his name.
That's the guy. Was that the guy they actually were supposed to see, and they met someone else?
Yeah.
Or was it all some weird elaborate ruse to get them in prison to meet the guy?
No, that was who they were supposed to meet. See, was that guy.
Okay, that's just a really...
You ever mess up so bad?
Here's the thing about that subplot.
Like that subplot feels like a game of D&D.
It really does.
And the player characters mess up so much. The
they rolled so many ones.
The GM just has to make up a brand new story on the spot to keep the game going. That's kind of how that felt. They're like, "Oh no, this went wrong. Oh, this went wrong. We're in prison," and the prison just happens to have a master codebreaker that didn't sneak out until right then.
It was Justin through
Yeah, he's from he was in The Leftovers and a bunch of other things. He's married to Jennifer Aniston.
Is he? I didn't know she was married.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, they're in the process of getting a divorce right now.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna talk about that. But anyways, I kind of hate that subplot though, because it's fine, but it's ultimately pointless. But not in a way I'm getting at. But in a way that, okay, you have the entire resistance on a ship. You can't tell me not one person on that ship is a qualified code breaker.
Not for the First Order.
That's right. Finn.
He was a janitor.
He knew all kinds of stuff, though.
Because he cleaned the shit up off of it. If you
If
recall, half of the stuff he said he knew in Force Awakens he lied about, and they figured that out when they're actually on the planet.
Well, yeah, but he still was raised in the First Order. He would know some stuff.
Well, yeah, apparently he does, because he has this weird conversation with what's-her-face, Rose.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you know how to hack through the stuff. And let's be honest, this whole movie's fault is that one dude that saw the shield go down and flicker back up and didn't report that shit. It's his fault that everyone died. The First Order needs to work on their recruitment, because that's just bad.
That guy would have 100% been me being like tapping on the screen going, did something just happen? What?
The thing is, I liked, or not really liked, but whatever, is that I thought it was hilarious that they have the bomber ships ready to blow up that one big ship, and that one TIE fighter spirals out of control, hits one, and it's just a domino effect of all the bomber ships crashing into each other.
I feel like that's something that they should have prepared for before.
You ever roll a 1 so hard that it just destroys your whole campaign?
Like, it just kept happening, and I was like, Jesus Christ, why are they flying so close together?
No, that's not the question. The question is why... all right, let's go. Let's arm the bombs. They were nowhere near the spot they're supposed to be at. Why are the bombs armed?
Yeah. But,
it took another 5 minutes for the woman to crawl there to where she needed to be.
I know they talked about, Rian Johnson is developing a Star Wars trilogy separate from the main trilogy. I'm assuming, this is my theory, that his trilogy will follow the idea of regular people rising up. Based on the ending of this movie with the kid force pulling that broom.
I just expect you to say regular people, and it's like, oh,
okay.
Did you hear what the rebellion did today? And then the end of first movie.
Here's my issue with all space battles, including Star Wars, right? The ship hits the bombing ship, and it starts to fall. Mm-hmm. Fucking space. Why is it falling down?
Because
it could have fallen in any direction. They always go down relative to the camera. That's not how space works.
Well, whenever
Like, every-
you have a
every ship
multi-billion budget movie, you can make it.
Every ship comes in and they're all like level and like I played Battlefront. That ain't how it happens. You have like ships
Yeah.
sideways and here and you're flying upside down, but to you it's like, why are they flying upside down? Like, no, it's you that's upside down. That's not how space
I remember
works.
that. Yeah, I didn't think about that until you brought it up. But
It's always that
I
way. They
actually
always
spent a lot of
like,
time
every
questioning how
movie.
the actual bomber ship worked.
Yeah,
Because all
they
it
just
did
dropped
was
the
drop
bombs. That
bombs.
wouldn't work either.
Well, what I think
Unless
it
it
was
follows
that
Unless it follows
since
like
the ship has artificial gravity, so
Yeah.
the drop from the ship, it would have just kept going.
What did they go through though? Like was there a force field, or did the ship just open? How was she breathing if the ship was just
I
open?
guess there's a force field there.
That only bombs can go through.
Yeah, sure.
Why
I mean,
not?
you got open hangars in the big ship, so that wouldn't
Okay, I guess.
having an open
I
hangar. at the
guess.
bottom of
Okay, fine. But like every movie, like you see the ship and it starts to they shoot it and it goes, it just starts going
it.
down.
Yeah.
It could have gone in any direction. The bottom of the ship got hit and just fly up. But let's be honest, that scene like made me want to buy Battlefront. And then I'm like, no, I can't. Because the way he's just shooting the guns,
know.
I've done that. I've been there. Everything they're doing has happened before.
I remember when Josh and I saw Rogue One, we kept making Battlefield or Battlefront jokes, and it just made me sad.
I'm gonna cry. But that's my only issue with the space scenes. Everything else is fine. It's just, and I get it. It's a cinematic thing, but that's not how space works. That's not how space works.
Okay, here's one thing I gotta bring up.
That come through
Okay,
the
so-
headphones.
Why should I turn this off?
Benicio del Toro's character sells them out and tells the First Order the Resistance plan of getting an escape pod going to the planet. How did he know that?
Maybe he already got captured. Maybe they
'Cause
sent
he's
the
a
signal to the
sneaky.
ship. Maybe they like hailed the ship and be like, "What are you doing,
I
bugger?"
guess, I don't know.
Or maybe he purposely contacted them so he could make money.
I guess.
I don't know. I like that character though because you actually saw he was a contrast to the weird you had the super optimism of Rose ish, and then Finn kind of like half believing, and then someone just on the complete opposite side.
Yeah.
And I like that, like the behind the scenes stuff you kind of saw of where the people were actually getting the weapons from.
Oh yeah, that was a good touch.
That scene really hit me because
like-
it's very much that's modern. Like
Yeah, that's
it's very modern. It's like, yeah, why do you hate these people? Because they're providing weapons to the enemies, and it's like, are they? And then you see not only are they providing weapons to the enemies, but it's weapons to them too, because that's how it works.
His last line was great. I love that because I wasn't expecting it. When he's like, it's like it's just a cycle. You'll blow them up, they'll blow you up. There's no end to it. And Finn's like, you're wrong. And I expect him to have some rebuttal, and he just looks at him kind of hopefully. He goes, maybe. And just walks off. I was like, that was good. I like that. Like, you see Finn just putting that little bit of hope in this really awful dude. That he's got so much money now, and they blew up all that stuff. He came out. He's the real winner of this war. Like,
he came out as loaded.
Not Johnny
money.
Knoxville did.
He's gonna
pretty
join-
good.
he's
Good job, Johnny Knoxville.
Great job, Johnny Knoxville.
he's like gonna come back and like this giant Death Star made of gold with the money he bought. Like, sup guys, I'm on the rebellion now, and just start shooting.
I will
people.
say, I was
you can't
totally
go-
expecting Finn to die.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually shocked that they saved him at the last minute. At first, it felt cheap
Mm-hmm.
because I was actually so caught up in the moment that I was like, I accept this.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
But then, it sort of served some sort of purpose, and that it spelled out another theme in the film that you don't go to war to
Yeah.
kill the things you hate, but to save what you love.
Yeah, but man,
And
damn, that would have been a good death. though.
it would have. Finn
Like-
had such a great character.
That
arc.
death would have been
I
so good.
was-
They should have just paid him for the third movie, even though he would.
I was
Yeah.
almost in tears on that because
remember,
one, it
yeah.
would have been such a good death, but two, I was not prepared to
That was
see
what would make
Finn
it such a
die.
good
Like,
death. Like
Yeah.
no one would have
And
been
it was like
ready.
it was that thing that movie had turned expectations so much that I was like, of course they would kill him in the
It's like-
second movie. I'm totally prepared for this.
Like this
Do
is
it.
the complete.
Do it.
This is the complete opposite of Quicksilver's death.
Yeah.
Like you were completely unprepared, but just like, okay, I'm okay with this. He will do it to save everyone.
Because like he goes through such a great character arc in this movie, from going from just running away from the First Order to being the only one to charge
I
head first.
love
into
that
them.
because in the first movie he was the same way. He's like run away from everything. He finally charges in, gets his ass ass kicked. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to running. That plan worked better for me
Yeah.
before.
Like it was just great, but I guess they have plans for it.
I'm sad that Phasma is dead. She did not get enough screen time.
From what I've heard, she's going to be in the third one.
I'd buy it.
How?
I don't.
mean,
Well, nobody knew how she was going to be in this one either, and so
they don't even explain how she just keeps
all I
coming
know is
back.
I was
would
sitting there.
watch a Phasma
I was sitting there and I was
movie.
like,
Maybe
take off
they've
your mask,
cloned
take off
her
your
like they
mask.
cloned Jango Fett. There's just different.
Like I was
Phasma
sitting
clones.
there and I was going, please take off your mask, take off your mask, take off your mask,
You
take
get to
off
see
your
a
mask,
little
and then
bit
she
of her
got
eye.
like hit and half the mask came off, and I was like, close enough. And
Maybe she'll show up as just a Gwendolyn Christie and no one will know who she is.
That would be funny.
That would be funny.
God, I love her. She's so cool.
But
Or she ends up joining the rebellion just because she has nowhere else to go.
I like how Hux becomes just basically a Kylo Ren's new.
Kylo and Hux's hatred, and I have this written down somewhere. Their hatred physically gave me life. In
Like
this.
when
I love
how
their
when
much,
character
Kylo
dynamic.
dies, it's gonna be Hux.
how much
Like
they.
it's going to be him, and I'm ready.
And then he goes and he works on a farm.
I want Kylo to die in the most anticlimactic way because that is so just
I just
the
love
way
that-
Kylo's going.
That's
I love
really
that. I
don't
love
feel
Kylo
Kylo's
becoming
gonna
new
die in a
Supreme
big
later and
way.
just treating Hux like a punching bag. Like them in that AT-AT Walker
Exactly.
where he just force pushes him into the wall.
Yeah.
It's so great.
That's exactly my point. That's where it's going. He's just doesn't realize how much trouble he's putting himself in with Hux.
Okay, I just want to say one thing. How is it possible that Oscar Isaac has such great chemistry with everyone in this
He's
cast?
so good. Oh my god, I love
He's the most charismatic
'Cause he-
person alive.
Because he can do anything. Have you seen Ex Machina?
Not yet.
Did you know he's
Dude.
gonna be voicing Gomez Adams in a new
I mean, I've seen a lot of
animated
movies.
Addams
I've seen a lot of
Family?
movies with him in it. I haven't seen Ex Machina yet, but I've
He
seen a lot of
plays
movies
a
with him.
completely different character in Ex Machina to the point.
Oh, he plays
that,
a completely different character in every movie I've seen him in.
like he can do whatever he wants.
Mhm.
He's fantastic.
He's such a great actor.
It's really weird because Ex Machina also has Hux in it as the other.
He plays
Oh, yeah.
Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh
Does he-
yeah.
oh yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac, not
Oh yeah, I know.
not the Canadian redhead.
Not one
Is
of
he
the
Canadian?
Weasley boys.
He plays.
Oscar-
I don't know.
He's-
He plays.
No, he's not Canadian.
Yeah, I don't know. He plays a Canadian in the Revenant.
He was in Harry Potter. He's one of the Weasley boys.
Dom
one of the older
Gleason.
ones.
I
I
don't
think
know.
he plays like
I know
Charlie.
him
He plays
from Star.
Bill.
Yeah, he plays
Yeah.
Bill, the one that everyone forgets about. I know him from The Revenant and Star Wars. That's it.
He's in Harry Potter, and he was in the movie Frank.
I can't tell you how much.
He was
I
in the
do
movie
not
Frank, we talked
care
about that.
he's in Harry Potter.
Well, we're just saying.
I do not care.
He's also playing Christopher Robin in the movie Goodbye
Yes,
Christopher
isn't
Robin.
he?
Yeah. Anyways,
But Poe, sweet Poe,
Tinky Winky,
Dipsy, la
La
la,
La,
and then Poe
Poe
Dameron.
Dameron.
Poe Dameron.
Boy, would that be different. You should just edit that. I want you to make an edit of that, and when the sun comes up, it's just Finn's face.
Because that's how Finn and Poe look at each other. But anyway,
I'll try.
I've had, because I loved that Finn was saved, and I loved Rose, loved her, but I saw them more as like a buddy thing, and I almost felt like the kiss at the end was forced.
Well, I mean,
But
no,
then again, I also
she
I
kissed
don't-
him. There's a big
Yeah.
difference.
I
there.
know, and it's like it just, and I'm like, I don't know, because I've talked about this with other people. I'm like, I can only see Finn with one of two people, and that is Rey or that is Poe.
No,
I mean, Finn thinks the same thing.
I
You can
did-
see Finn's face from the kiss. He wasn't expecting
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
exactly.
So it's completely one-sided.
And
I don't
So it's like
think-
I loved her. I thought she was fantastic, but I don't see that being.
I am
something
very
that
much
actually happened.
against the business of ships,
Well,
but I do feel that Poe and Finn. There's
there,
very much something there.
there
like,
is
even
something
canon-wise,
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There, you do not tap a guy on the shoulder and say, no, keep it. It looks good on you. You don't do that unless there is something
Maybe
more
he
there.
thought Finn just smelled bad and he didn't want the jacket back. He had been out in the desert in the sun. Like, let's be honest, that jacket probably stank pretty bad.
And that jacket's
Yeah.
been inside a smoking TIE
Poe was
fighter.
not-
Yeah, that's.
Poe-
So he just didn't want the jacket back. That's what
Poe
it
was
was.
not making the face of someone who thought Finn smelled bad, okay?
He's just
I guess we'll
really.
see how it
He's a
plays
really
out.
good actor. Have we not? Wait, I'm confusing the actor and the character. Sorry.
Well,
I guess
Poe
we'll
is
just,
also super
figure it out.
charismatic, but I mean, the thing is I like to ship stuff. It's fun. It's enjoyable. I understand that there's a difference between watching the movie and enjoying a ship and everything. It's like part of the reason why I loved Kylo and Hux hating each other so much is because I shipped them two together. And so the fact they loathe each other makes it better. But, you know,
That's an unhealthy relationship.
it's all right. They're on the
Any-
dark side. I don't
Any
care.
relationship with Kylo is going to be.
It's going to be
relationship.
unhealthy.
Oh, hey, you call me and my shirt off, right?
God, that scene hurts so much.
It would be so much. It'd be so much fun to find out that Kylo and Rey are brother and sister, because it'll just be another instance of Star Wars. Like, you sick motherfuckers, you did it again.
See,
They're
that's-
brother and sister.
That's
You
physically
fell
what I
for
was
it
saying.
twice.
I was thinking that too. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna end up together, and I'm gonna be like, well, you guys done it. You didn't learn from the first time, so you done it
Well, to
again.
be
You done-
fair, the
you
first
done
time
goof.
You done
the
goof.
first time she does actually kiss Luke, but that was over. That was just to make Han jealous. That wasn't a
Yeah.
real kiss.
We haven't got that in
Have you
this.
seen-
He's a space farmer. He's gonna kiss his sister.
Have you- Oh,
my God.
Oh yeah, his aunt and uncle they were actually brother and sister. So that's what you didn't know. But have you seen that? I think it was a Vine at one point. It's like oh no, he's my brother, and that look that Han has when she says that.
Yeah.
He's a really,
Yeah.
it zooms in on his face. Because he really does have this like horrified look on his face. I'm trying to let's see. What else happened in the movie? Poe yelled a lot.
He did.
Everyone yelled a lot. Snoke was cool until he got sliced in half by Kylo Ren.
I know. I love the fact
That was such a beautiful scene too. That like it was done so cleverly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because Snoke can't tell what Kylo's gonna do, but he can read his intentions.
Yeah.
And Kylo's intentions was to strike down his enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Snoke thought Rey.
And
Snoke was
and
the
it's like
enemy.
and he was
Snoke
even
got
mentioning the
blindsided.
lightsaber.
Yeah.
He just wasn't seeing the correct one.
It was such a clever moment, and I loved it.
Let's be honest. The best part was when he smacked Rey in the face with the lightsaber while he was forced using it.
Oh,
Like she went to pull it away from him, and he just like, hits her in the head with it, like, and it just lands beside him again. He doesn't move a muscle.
And it just, yeah, dude, Snoke was so powerful. Oh, I loved him. Now he's gone.
And he
mad.
got killed by a fuck boy.
He got killed by a trash
Who
boy.
weighs 30 pounds soaking wet in that little dress?
Luke Skywalker sucking on some titties. Getting that green milk.
Is that better or worse than the blue milk?
I feel so sorry for the creatures that live on that island. This is where
Those
Luke
things
gets all
looked a
his
lot like-
action.
they look kind of like Alf.
They did. They're just sitting straight up, like they're ready for him. Like, oh, here comes Luke for his daily milking.
God, it's so
All right. Luke Skywalker throws the lightsaber over his shoulder and says, "I don't want that shit."
That amused me so much because that scene had been built up so much
Yeah.
in The Force Awakens, and you had all this time, like 2 years, and then you finally get back to that scene, and I feel that's the last thing anybody would have expected.
That's because it was just Mark Hamill. It was all improv. I'm like, we're gonna
That's
do
what I
a,
said to Brad.
we're gonna
was
do a
that-
retake's. Like, nope, that's in the movie. Deal with it.
Was that was actually just Mark Hamill being mad he didn't have any lines, so he just chunked the lightsaber over. Which I feel like it says a lot about Luke's character, that he's become so in tune with the Force that he's transcended lightsabers. Which he even echoes in the dialogue. Do you really expect me to take on the entire First Order with a laser sword? So
Speaking of that laser
that's what I
sword,
was gonna
though,
talk about earlier.
Daisy Ridley, whenever she was like kind of training for that, the stunt coordinator that works with it, said that the stuff that he was showing her would take a person normally about 3 days or so.
Mm-hmm.
Daisy learned all that stuff in an hour and a half.
he's a true Jedi.
She's also scarily strong.
She's a beast. She's so cool.
I do that. William just randomly twitched so hard you hurt
William
his
just
neck
decided
snap.
he was gonna break his own neck.
I mean, I heard it snap. That was nasty. You got a bit of the Tourette's there, son.
I guess it surprised me. I didn't know it was coming.
I just thought he was trying to really pop his neck
Like,
without
that was-
touching his head.
That was scary. Like,
Well, you never do that. I do that all the time.
I don't know.
That random twitch, I do.
It was like, it might have just been a chill twitch. Like
I don't know. It looks like a ghost got a hold of you and just like snap. A ghost that wasn't quite sure how to actually snap someone's neck.
And so, you know,
That was
just
weird.
popped it.
Okay,
It was a chiropractor ghost.
let's talk about the fact that Luke wasn't actually there for that entire battle.
Oh my god, yes.
And we
Sucking
should have
off some
seen
big
it.
old titties.
Okay, so my stupid self, because one of the first signs was he did not leave footprints. Okay, it wasn't the first sign, because the first sign was how did he get into the thing. But him not leaving footprints.
How did he get there so fast? That's the first thing I thought of.
My exact
How did he get
thought-
there at all? They took the ship.
My exact thought
He had the
was, I
X-Wing.
just thought that.
See, I thought we were going to see the X.
That's what I thought I was gonna see it too.
Real quick.
No, you're
I
good.
thought they were going to see the X-wing rise. I thought we were going to see the X-wing rise. Dang, it's hard to say.
out of the
water, like the parallel.
Not only that, but I thought he was
The
gonna
old
do it
series.
so flawlessly and without any thought. Like he was just gonna flick his wrist and it would come up.
And he
'Cause I was
flicked
like-
himself into the.
Yeah, and I was like, that would show just how much more powerful than Yoda he had become at that point. This is a flick of a wrist, and oh, that was the X-wing. Considering it took Yoda like all his strength to, and Luke just.
There were so many clues.
I just physically thought
was.
Jedis could walk really lightly, and that's why
I thought that's what he was
They're
doing
not
too.
elves.
Well,
That's the thing.
I
It gave
thought
so
maybe
many
it's like-
clues.
I was like, oh, he's such a strong Jedi. Look at how softly he walks.
That's the best. That's
Like, that
the.
was my
The
exact
best twist
thought.
is a twist that tells you what's going on, but
and you just
can't
ignore
notice it.
every piece
Luke
of
Skywalker does not leave footprints. He looks 20 years younger.
it. Yeah.
Take
He-
note, M. Night Shyamalan.
He is using the same
He's using
lightsaber
the
they
blue
just
lightsaber,
destroyed
yeah.
30 minutes
And I-
prior to that.
He was in an area that he could not have gotten into at
Because
all.
they broke the blue lightsaber, so I was like, oh, he'll come in with the green one. And he still had a blue one. I was like, oh, that's weird.
Like, I didn't notice that, but I did notice the footprint.
I
thing.
didn't notice footprints.
See, I noticed the footprints.
Did
I
not.
noticed the footprint.
I noticed that, like,
There's that one shot where it focuses on Kylo's feet, and he turns his foot and it leaves a red, and Luke does the same thing and it does nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't
Wow,
think he was a
Jedis can
projected,
walk lightly.
but I was like, dang, Luke's treading pretty lightly
Yeah.
here. What's going
my
on?
thing was, I thought, how did he get there so fast? And how, and he had the wrong lightsaber. And a lot of that stuff happened. I was like, oh, is he a ghost? Did he die? I thought he was dead. I really thought he was dead and he was force ghosting. But no, he was just pre-force ghosting.
That was such a badass shot
He
too.
force
where it
ghost
reveals,
himself into a force ghost.
basically,
Yo,
yeah.
dog.
when it reveals he's a projection and it cuts back to the island and he's fucking
That was
levitating
so
over
intense.
that rock. I was like, oh yes, my Luke.
Well, he is half force, Jesus.
He is a force Jesus.
Or
And
maybe
now he's one with the force. See, that was the thing too. Was I was like, ooh, Luke's gonna survive because he wasn't actually there.
And then he Kenobi'd.
And then he Kenobi.
He just turned into nothing.
It was a beautiful scene though.
Which it
Him
reminded
staring
me
at
of
the-
a scene from a certain sci-fi show that a certain person made me watch. That
Yeah, well, I
to
mean,
stay still
that's the thing.
hurts.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, though, did that in Episode 4 when Darth Vader hit him with a lightsaber. And it made no sense. Like, he hit him with a lightsaber and he just disappeared. To the point that even in the movie, Darth Vader's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, he starts kicking around the thing, like, where'd he go? Like, I don't
got
understand.
Jedi
What is that?
dust on my outfit.
What does that mean?
You
When
become one with the force. You don't die, but you become like when you're so in tune with the force and you learn that stuff. When you die, you just vanish.
Is that why Qui-Gon, you saw Qui-Gon's body? He wasn't just quite good enough?
Yeah.
Only
He
his
wasn't quite
voice. That's why
there.
he didn't scream on the way down. His voice became one with the Force, but he didn't.
Because apparently, allegedly in canon, after Anakin dies in Return of the Jedi, what's left of his body does vanish out of the Darth Vader suit.
Well, shit.
So
It's all that midichlorian bacteria.
Yoda
goes and
doesn't
turns-
vanish either, but of course,
Granted, he just kind of left him there.
yeah, and Luke just kind of leaves. But that was the thing, though, too. Is it's such a beautiful scene because it's like Luke at his weakest, looking at the twin suns. It's like a bookend to his journey, you know. And it's a very beautiful scene, but it made me so
Sitting
mad.
on the rock that's on top of the
on
top of the dark anus full of mirrors.
It just made me so mad because
The
I was like,
spooky
"Oh, we're gonna have
butthole.
Luke around for one more movie," and then he just fades into the wind. And
Oh,
becomes-
hell, if he can keep doing that, maybe we can have him.
Which
around
is the
for
thing,
one
I guess
movie.
we're gonna have him. He's gonna be a Force ghost, but I'd like to see him more involved in the story.
He's gonna actually
outside of
train
being-
Rey.
Yeah, and you feel that? Yeah, that's the Force.
God, that scene was beautiful.
God, like,
Every
this
bit of that
scene.
scene was
He's gotta be
great.
the saltiest Jedi to ever exist.
Mark, it's just Mark
Because
Hamill
you just like
doing it.
reach out, and it's like your instinct is to reach out, and
That scene though of Rey connecting with the Force and feeling all the life cycles of the island was so beautiful.
yeah,
I was like, this is it. This is the Force. This is none of that George Lucas midichlorian bullshit. This is it.
And see, I love that.
And it's so
Even in
good.
that, it's like he talks about embracing the dark and the light side of things.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what's going to make her more powerful. She's not afraid of the dark. She just chooses not to, she just chooses to embrace the light
Yeah.
more.
Mhm.
Which
She-
maybe they'll come back when she fights Kylo. She'll like force choke him and lightning bolt him and then
Maybe, and that's
Then
it's
do
like
the-
maybe
then do
she'll
the other-
understand that balance, because for somebody who talks a lot about balance, it's really one-sided, because he
Yeah,
mentions
exactly.
multiple
Yeah.
times that it's all about balance.
and
Force
that's
is
the
about
biggest
balance.
flaw of the Jedi Order is that the Jedi Order is the one that believes in balance, and the Jedi Order not only just balance, but the Jedi Order believe themselves to be the true wielders of the Force, and so any irregularities have to be taken care of. The Force can balance itself out. It's only the Jedi is creating
And
these
this is why they
prophecies
made
and trying.
maybe
to...
that's why they made all the stuff non-canon. Because I remember in not Knights of the Old Republic, it's Jedi Knight. One of the Jedi Knights. There's this dark Jedi apprentice who because in that game you can go dark and light at the same
Mhm.
time, but at some point you have to choose one and you lose all and get all of the other. And there's this one Jedi apprentice that does both, and the main bad guy's like, you have to choose a side, you can't have both. And like, apparently you can have both, and you're better off if you have both.
Mhm.
Then again, though, the games you have things like force heal. You never see that in the games. And I love, like, in the games, you can force jump so high that when you land, it kills you. You don't see the Jedi doing that either.
Yeah, but that's just the thing is that
You dropped your pencil.
It's a pen.
in Brad. But
Lay pen.
You dropped your pen.
Soul.
But maybe that's the thing is that Rey will end up becoming what we've always theorized Luke would become was just a complete true wielder of the Force.
Luke
who
didn't have
uses-
time
Who
because
reaches into both.
He tried to kill the whiny baby.
Yeah.
Created the whiny baby.
That really got me too, was how Kylo Ren kind of became Kylo Ren
Yeah.
because of Luke's lapse in judgment.
Also, unrelated to that, I was just
It's
thinking
like,
about
oh,
it.
I'm gonna kill my sister's son.
Yeah.
LOL.
Well,
Let me pull out this lightsaber because it's not loud and super bright. It totally won't wake anybody up.
Snoke had a much deeper understanding of the Force than any Sith we've seen before. That's what
Maybe
gets
he's
me.
a will.
A will?
Like you?
No, those are the ancient keepers of the Force.
Oh, I don't. Sure, I totally know what you're talking about. Oh man, Ray pulls out one of those old Jedi books and it's written by Snoke.
That's one theory is that he is
Is that why he looks so jacked up? He's like 8 million years
that
old.
Snoke is one of the members of the ancient order of the Wills.
What kind of race is he that he's lived this long? Or maybe he can steal people's.
The Will.
I don't know. That's weird, but I don't know. It is odd. Like the thing he said, like I told him as he became more powerful, his light counterpart would become more powerful too. So who was Snoke's light counterpart then?
Yoda.
Or did he already kill him? Like how does that work? I'm very confused. I don't understand the rules. When I finally start to think I understand the rules,
Well, that's religion for you. It's just really super confusing, and the more you get into it, the more questions you have, and you just don't know what's going on anymore.
all these contradictions. I don't know. I didn't know. I left that movie with so many more questions than I went in with. And the answers I did get, I didn't believe. Went call country there for a second. The answers I did get, I didn't believe for a second.
I guess I'll have to see when 9 comes out.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a 4-hour movie to answer all these damn questions.
This movie was originally like 3 hours, and he cut down a good bit of it.
Yeah, I know. Which I have mixed feelings about.
I really enjoyed it.
I did too. Definitely recommend to go seeing it.
Go see Star Wars: The Last Jedi in theaters everywhere.
Yeah, I put on our Facebook page. I think like 9 out of 10 would be confused by backstories again.
I almost commented on that, and then I just could not think of anything to respond with. Also, Rey and Poe finally got to meet each other at the end of this movie.
Yeah, that's a good point. See, that's the thing is that if any movie were to have killed Leia off, this would have been a good one, and have Holdo replace.
Yeah, but
at the end of the day, you kind of want to.
Well, they can just go in because she was still really badly hurt, and she had to stop her recovery to leave, so they could just say that she died of those injuries on top of losing her brother. She just kind of
the stress.
she just couldn't take it. Or they could just say she's back on this planet doing stuff.
Being Leia.
We lost Admiral Akbar. May he rest in peace. I'm still torn up about it.
I didn't even notice.
Oh my! I noticed.
They specifically said in the movie.
Yeah.
He was amongst the.
They physically mentioned him by name.
I think that just goes to prove how much I don't fucking care.
Man, Admiral Akbar's a national treasure. Admiral Akbar's a war hero. Admiral Akbar.
The only thing he ever did, the only good thing he did in his life was become a decent meme at best.
Man, you're disrespecting Admiral Akbar.
That fishy-faced guild motherfucker. Who cares?
Admiral Akbar's dead. Where's Lando Calrissian? Why is Neen Nub getting more screen time?
I could have sworn someone said that Lando was going to be in this movie.
It was rumored. It was a lot of rumors.
He would have been good, like Master Codebreaker.
Again?
Lando Calrissian.
No,
in a cameo.
I would love for Rey to like get on the Millennium Falcon. It turns out he's been like sleeping in the cot in the back, like ever since Jakku, like. He's just been back there.
He's
like,
been sleeping.
Hey, Rey, what's up, girl?
He can still show up. I hope he shows up at 9. He's the only one that's still alive. Maybe he died in between movies.
He just pops up for like a brief second.
Turns out he was running that casino they crashed.
Yeah.
That was a cool scene.
He comes out.
That was a very non-Star Wars kind of setting, but it fit really well.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see the non-cosmic things in Star Wars because you don't ever see that.
Yeah.
I still think the world sees Luke Skywalker as a terrorist. I'm not going to drop that opinion.
I don't know, because it's like, I think there's people out there who would, of course, but then other people would see him for like the martyr that he is.
That's the thing, though. There's no reason. No reason.
That little boy at the end had a reason.
See, though, the First Order has made itself clear what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But like, from episode 3, they know Palpatine and Anakin as the people who saved the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And less than 20 years later, this dude comes in and blows up the government that saved them. And they have no reason to believe this government is evil because they hadn't had time to do anything evil yet except blow up that one planet, which was unexplained to everyone in the universe.
I mean, at the end of Return of the Jedi, there's a montage of a bunch of different planets.
That's true. So I suppose the only redeeming factor would be in between episode 4 and episode 6. That had time to see everything happen.
Of course, those were all late additions to the special edition. So
that is true. But then again, imagine what the world would have been like. Because like in episode 4, he mentions that they got rid of the Senate. So they're the only government left in the galaxy. And they blow that up. So there's no government left. What happens? Like, what could possibly happen? Luke Skywalker's a terrorist, and he probably caused the Great Depression of the universe. We don't see any planet thriving except for the gambling planet, and the only other planet we see is where she's, like, fighting for scraps just to buy her stupid soup bread.
From Simon Pegg.
It's a weird cameo. Anyways,
so.
completely random theory. I would love to see that political aspect of how the universe is crap because the government borrowed money from everyone in the galaxy to build the Death Star and could never pay it back because they got blowed up twice.
They wouldn't have paid it back
Maybe
anyway.
it had insurance on it.
I mean, they would have paid it back.
It's like all of a sudden they're like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and then like the State Farm person's like screaming as it blows up.
They would have paid it back in some form or fashion. You got to remember, the Emperor was a senator. Like, he knows this political stuff, and he knows how the economy would affect all this stuff. He may have been a bad person, but he was a good politician. That's why he was able to trick everyone and kill everyone. Except for, like, I swear, like, every time we talk about this, how did he get so messed up looking? Who did that to him?
Mace Windu.
Mace Windu. Is that in the third
He used
movie?
Force lightning, and Mace Windu deflects it back towards him, and it just
Oh, okay.
it fucks him up.
Alright, I guess. Whatever. We never see Palpatine's body die. He's Snoke.
I guess. I don't know. I have nothing more to add to anything.
Oh, I'm just saying, I don't believe that for a second, but until I get an actual freaking answer, I'm gonna spread that crappy propaganda.
Brad's over here spreading fake nerd
Fake news. Fake nerd news. We're the nerdly kingdom. We can do whatever we want. Who are they gonna complain to? This is a monarchy. I still find it odd how jokey it was, you know?
Yeah.
I felt it was kind of on the same
And let's be
page
honest.
as Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok was really jokey, but it worked really well.
I know, but it's like
No,
I feel
yeah.
in comparison.
Actually, you know what? I was gonna say, if we're gonna ship anyone, the deepest, most romantic relationship we see has got to be Poe and BB-8.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like everyone's, it's like he sees all these people that are back. He's like, "Oh, Finn, you made it. Oh, hey, Rose, where's my droid? Oh my God, BB-8!"
I loved that so much.
That's me and my cat.
Same. BB-8 is a cat, confirmed.
Poe's a robosexual. Anyways, I think
my
that's all we can
God.
add for Star Wars. Let me think. Let me replay the movie in my head real quick.
I got nothing.
I mean, we didn't really talk about how amazing that fight scene was. We briefly mentioned
It was awesome.
that. When he threw that.
Are you okay?
I'm very tired.
Me too, man. But no, when he threw that guy into whatever it was, like his bitch just kind of out. That was nasty.
Yeah,
What was that? Like, that was a pretty gruesome scene.
That was cool though.
And now Rey has to make her own lightsaber, and she's gonna become a real Jedi.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
Well,
I
at
bet
least-
she makes a staff lightsaber like Darth Maul.
That would be so cool. I'd be so ready because I kept saying that. That's what she needs. She
Mhm.
would kick butt with it. You
Yeah, it'd be rad.
You don't ever see a Jedi that uses the dual one. You see some that use two, but yeah, that'll be interesting. Will she have two different colors? I don't
I
know.
hope not. I think it would look weird.
The thing is, though, and I don't know if this is canon
Blue's
now.
kind of her color.
I don't know if it's canon now, but the different colors actually had different properties. They serve different purposes in the Star Wars games.
I feel I had read something about that.
'Cause
Wasn't
it was-
Samuel L.
because-
Jackson's purple?
Yeah, but that's because he complained. Not even complained. He's like, I want a purple lightsaber, and like, I don't know if I want to do it. And then George Lucas coming up to us like, yeah, I give you a purple
Just
lightsaber.
give him a purple lightsaber. It's like the Power Rangers with lightsabers.
I think it'd be cool if she had a blue and a green one, or like the always rare yellow one that you almost never see. I think she should have. Yeah, she should have a yellow one. You don't see that a lot. I don't think they've ever had that in
They're
a movie.
ugly.
Have they had a yellow one in the movies?
I think there was one in Attack of the Clones.
Have they had a yellow one in the good movie?
No. Yellow's an ugly color.
I think it's cool.
I hate yellow.
I think Rey's very yellow. You know, the desert planet that matches her weird aesthetic of barren
Blue
wasteland.
kind of works with her though. That blue lightsaber.
I guess.
I like the blue.
The question is, well, the issue is like, unless she's just got like a magical stash of Kyber crystals somewhere, she's gonna have to make a blue one. That's the only
Yeah.
crystal she's got. So, I don't know.
I just feel Kylo's gonna
Was,
end up being jealous
the Death
because hers
Star-
is gonna end up looking better than his.
I love his.
Oh, I do too.
They don't mention it in the movie anywhere, but you notice that his lightsaber is unstable. It's like whooshy.
They mentioned it in SNL.
Yeah. Well, the reason it's whooshy and it has the things is because his crystal's broken.
Mm.
And like the hilt isn't intentional. They're exhaust ports because if he didn't have those, it would explode the lightsaber.
Nice.
It's really interesting, and I get why they didn't bring that up in the movie.
Because it's like they mention it being unstable in the
What
sketch.
what
because
color?
he goes, look, I found Kylo Ren's and a lightsaber. Isn't it cool? And the guy's like, dude, that doesn't look safe at all.
What color was the Super Death Star? What's it called?
Red?
Was it red? Because I mean, the Death Star was made of kyber crystals, right?
Yeah.
They mentioned that in Rogue One. Do you think the new one was too? Maybe the blue crystal's broken, and she grabs one from the wreckage of the blown up thing, and she has a better red lightsaber than Kylo does. Maybe she can have a red and a blue one, and she'll spin it really fast, become purple.
It would be really amazing to see her. It would be really amazing to see her with red though,
one.
because everyone assumes red to be bad.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really an actual distinction other than the way.
Hey, if any of you guys out there know, let us know.
But yeah, I want to have a red lightsaber and a blue one. I suppose we should end this podcast unless we just want to talk about random things for the rest.
I've got nothing more to add.
It's like I've been watching the H3 podcast and they literally just have people on and talk. And like I wish I could have a podcast like that. The problem is if you get any combination of any one of us in a room, it becomes these conversations anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that's why we started doing this.
Yeah. Why did we just start doing this? How was that? Because I mean, I remember saying it to him. I think you're the only one that took it seriously. And
it's because we
said it.
No, we were all talking in Discord, and I had said, "Hey guys, instead of doing videos, where we have to like write the sketches and do all of this and all that, why don't we just do this in a podcast?"
Because I've been joking about it for a
while.
while.
I've been wanting to do podcasts for a while, but I never brought it up. I know me and Jordan were talking about starting a movie review podcast, and then
I could see y'all doing that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And then
that'd be way more professional than whatever this is.
Not really.
Like, what is this garbage?
We go off in tangents as well. So,
yeah. I mean, I've been sitting on this mic. Oh, speaking of all this stuff. I'm so lazy. I've got so many videos I'm sitting on I need to upload. But the one of Lori, you and me playing, both of us, I guess, playing Doki Doki Literature Club. The first one is on YouTube.
Oh, Jesus.
Just Google Pegason Gaming. It's Pgason, I think. Pegason. And it's on there. It's garbage. Like, it's so bad.
I could imagine
it's so bad.
terrible.
I opened it with a warning about how sleep deprived we were and to forgive us. We really were,
because the first video of the Toki Doki, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Toki Doki. And I've done it now 3 times, I think.
I think we did twice.
2 or 3. But that first one was literally done. We did the Marvel podcast, then we turned around and we did that next podcast, then we turned around and me and Brad filmed that. So we were so tired. I don't know what possessed us to just try. It's
on there and it's fun. Listen, William, this is the game that, without going into it deep, at least
because I don't want it spoiled for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the beginning at least, it plays like a Japanese dating simulator. Mm-hmm. So you're playing a guy with 4 girls, right? She does the voice of the guy, and I voice all 4 girls with different voices.
And I didn't realize that I was playing a guy until one of the other characters said, "Oh, he did it," and I was like, "Wait, what? He? Okay."
And I voice her inner monologue in my own voice. So, like, I'm her monologue. I'm all 4 girls. She only voices her own lines. And that's only when I'm not voicing her lines, but because I forget to see who's actually talking and I just keep reading.
Yeah.
It's worth watching just for that. And me struggling to remember whose voice I gave who. And the fact that I'm so dyslexic, reading is so hard.
And then on top of being sleep deprived, it just turned out worse. Mine was easy because I would literally half the time say something and then click the thing and my dialogue would say almost the exact same thing my character was like that I was saying.
I have one of us playing the new Five Nights at Freddy game too.
Oh Lord.
We actually didn't get that many jump scares in it. I was quite surprised. Yeah. Dude, I tried going.
We also played that human falling.
Human fall flat. I gotta get that one up there. I tried to play. Me and Dakota played Five Nights at Freddy's, and like I generally don't get scared at games. Like, don't get me wrong, that game scares me because of the jump scares and the tenseness of it. But generally, it doesn't have a lasting effect. I slept with the light on.
Oh my god.
And I turned on every light on my way to the bathroom and refused to look at any window because I was afraid I was going to look over and there's just going to be an animatronic standing there. And once it happens, the only thing you can do to save yourself is just keep staring. So it's like, if I just don't look, they won't get me. And
I don't
it was
think
sad.
that's how that game works.
Well, I got to the bathroom and back, so apparently it worked.
I don't think that's how that works at all, but...
It was fun. It was fun.
So yeah, if you want to watch me click through a game...
Yeah, that's fun. Pegasus Gaming, look that up. But anyways, I guess we'll wrap this up.
But if you want to contact us for this, I've got some handy dandy little places.
Got any comments? Any complaints about what we're doing wrong? I'm sure there's a lot of those. Any theories that are better than our theories? And let's be honest, that's not that hard at this point.
This is true.
There's a fourth thing that I normally say. There's comments, complaints.
To be honest.
Whatever. Yeah. Anything, you want us to talk about. You want to leave us a question. That's the other one I didn't say. Just hit us up on that.
I mean, it's like...
we'll say your question out here, and then instead of the answering, go off on a 10-minute tangent, because that's
about
what
Toy
we
Story.
do. Yeah, about Toy Story.
But no, it's like, if you have a suggestion, if you want to hear us talk about a TV show or a movie that you're interested in, it doesn't even have to be new. If you've listened to us, I mean, my God, we'll go off on anything. But
just give us a reason to make another episode. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, shoot us an email. Our email is nerdlykingdom@gmail.com. We are also on Twitter a whole bunch, and by we I mean me and Brad and not William.
I have 4 tweets.
And it's _nerdom. We also have the Facebook page, facebook.com/thenerdlykingdom.
Yeah, I'm on that a lot more.
Yeah, and so, I mean, feel free to reach out to us on any of those with any sort of, like, comments, queries, suggestions, anything like that. And we'll happily respond and, probably read whatever you wrote on our next podcast.
And whine about wanting to talk to William enough that I might reopen the William Bell Fan Club Facebook page exists for reasons.
We'll link that out to you guys, and then you guys can pretend you're talking to William, when in reality it's me and Brad.
I'm gonna open that page back up and just boost the hell out of it.
Shit.
That time we boosted you to be the next Spider-Man? Or you
William
boosted
Bell
you?
for Spider-Man.
I spent $20 for that campaign. It got nothing.
I had that
I didn't
ad,
even get invited to the premiere.
I had that ad show up on my Facebook.
I mean, I got some reach on that, but nothing. But was I cast as Spider-Man? No. Was I invited to the premiere? No.
Oh, poor
Did you even get a drawing?
I didn't get nothing. I didn't get no correspondence from any Marvel.
No respect from Marvel.
No respect after all the effort I went through.
Paying a little bit of money and posting a picture of you in a hoodie.
That's why, because it was Sony. That's the real reason.
No, I know it's for the new Marvel one.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
they kind of
true.
shared the.
They shared it. Sony's got nothing to do. Sony's out to get William. Anyways, that's it.
Good night, everybody.